Indiana Jones, Indiana It's a podcast about Indiana Jones. Every movie, 1 minute at a time. Indiana Jones Minute.
Welcome back to the Indiana Jones Minute. This is the podcast where we normally discuss the Indiana Jones movies 1 minute at a time. My name is Tom Taylor.
My name is Pete Mummert. And is that true?
I don't know. It says this on the piece of paper.
Oh, okay.
I think at one point that was our mission statement, yeah.
I'm Destined Celebitian. my Star Trek alien name.
And today, we are here with another very special bonus episode. You may remember a few months ago, we were joined by a couple of very dedicated listeners who supported us on Patreon at the Let's Go Talk to Us Together level. And that meant that they got to come on the show and talk about whatever they wanted to talk about with us on the show. And back then, it turned out to be the exquisite James Bond film, A View to a Kill. And now they are back with another excellent San Francisco-based movie. Welcome back, Mark Campbell and Jason Auman.
Hey.
Well, thank you.
Hello.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Good to have you guys back. We put that level on Patreon. We're like, no one's ever going to do this. That's ridiculous. And then look at you guys. You're just ridiculous enough to do it, and we thank you. We speak your name.
It's not. It's like we have to do stuff now.
Yeah. Oh my God, they're kidding.
Responsibility.
Which
On the plus
I
side-
watched. Yeah, go ahead, Pete.
I was going to say on the plus side, at least until we start channeling our inner Scrooge, that money's also all going to good charity.
That's right.
That's true. That's
Cheers,
true.
jet ski fund. My kids' new shoes. No.
Jerry's 7-Eleven tab.
Yep.
Exactly.
if you only knew.
Oh man. But guys, what made you want to come on here and discuss Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home with us?
Yeah, honestly.
Be nice, Jerry.
I don't know. Mark
He's our
got the idea himself. We've been kicking around a number of films. Yeah.
I don't know. It's a fun film.
It is.
And I think it was triggered by, Tom, your other podcast and me revisiting a lot of that. And then with my 9-year-old daughter, I've forced her to watch Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home with me. And
Nice.
yeah, and she loved it. She absolutely loved it. And Chekhov was her favorite character. And the one who said, why does he say vessel? And then when my wife walked into the living room and saw what we were watching, you could almost hear her eyes roll as she walked by. But,
Gross. What does that sound like?
But I've always had a fondness for this movie. It's, I would say, really, as far as the original crew feature films go, 3 is probably my favorite.
Interesting.
But here we are.
Excellent.
You know, I was doing a bunch of research on this, and many people, I guess Leonard Nimoy, who apparently directed this, he thought that this was the
Apparently.
most. Apparently. So he thought this fourth installment was, had the most jocularity, the most jocundity. It was like the most fun.
Yeah.
Well, slow down. I'm looking up those words. Hang on.
Yeah. He's apparently said, oh, this kind of like exactly what you said, and maybe why your daughter liked it so much. It's like, oh, this one's just fun, and we're gonna have a good time, and we're gonna show the audience a lot of fun, and it's not gonna get super heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And is that true? Would you guys say
Yeah,
that's true?
he definitely wanted to. After the first 3 films were pretty serious, heavy space operas in a way.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to lighten it up a little bit.
And I think this was the highest grossing of all those movies.
Wow.
Which makes you think, yeah, it's probably like just the most accessible.
36
way.
million, if I'm not wrong, and then it was like
Wow,
133 million or something like that internationally.
Jer, is that you?
Well, you know.
I think Jerry applied himself. What's going on?
I know.
Wow.
I have to say, I haven't seen this movie in 20, 25 years, and I enjoyed it immensely. And it makes me a little nervous, actually, how much I enjoyed it. Like, I don't know. My virginity is growing back, and I'm gonna have to start wearing a Star Trek hoodie like Tom.
That's right. Oh, I'm not right now. I should. Oh, but I am drinking out of a glass with Scotty on it.
Oh.
You can't take much more of this, Captain. He's saying in a speech bubble.
If the glass has Scotty on it, is the glass pretty huge?
It's huge and it's filled with something green. Yeah,
And it's transparent aluminum.
that's right. Delicious. And Jason, are you a huge Star Trek fan, or just a Star Trek 4 fan, or did you have any say in this at all?
4 was the first one my parents showed me as a little kid in, I think, 1988, 1989. They got the four film VHS collection for Christmas, I remember, and that was the first one they showed me, just to kind of get me on board, and then I was hooked ever since.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's beautiful.
but I'm really a TNG DS9 kind of guy.
Uh-huh.
Original series, it has its place, and I do appreciate it, but the show is a little bit boring, in my opinion. But I do like watching it.
ABCDTOS. You know, Jason, my co-hosts at ABCDTOS are already mad at me that I'm doing this, so you're not making it any better for me.
No, but I love the original series films. No, they're great. I think aside from Part 5, they're all winners. Even the motion picture, which I have to watch
you mean the
in
best one?
installments.
Yeah.
It's
I agree
it's
with
definitely
it
the
being best
most
one.
like Gene Roddenberry Star Trek, the motion picture, I'd say.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
Oh, bar none. And then once Harv Bennett got involved with Part 2 and Nicholas Meyer, they really kind of took on a whole new life of their own, I'd say.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's true. And Pete, you're like a casual, healthy Star Trek, not enthusiast.
Yeah, I enjoy it. Like
appreciator.
I've back in the day, I watched all the Next Generation ones, and I watched most of Deep Space Nine, and I've seen all of the originals, but mostly as a kid.
Yeah. And Jerry, you hate it all. You just hate it. You don't care.
Yeah, it's true.
I remember when I got for Christmas one year, I got the 5 movie VHS set. 6 hadn't come out yet.
Oh,
And,
the Enterprise all together,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And Jer walked in the room. I was in his hometown, my old hometown, watching that. And I was just watching it, and he walks in and goes, "I hate Bones. Why are you watching Bones?"
Oh,
I should clarify. I don't. It's a little bit like seafood for me. I just don't eat it. And I know that a lot of people enjoy it, and that's fine. I believe that Star Trek has its appeal, and I know that it's smart, and smart people watch it, and it's well constructed, and the characters are consistent and well developed and all that stuff. But just like seafood, I just don't like the taste.
We're in the same boat on seafood, definitely, Jared.
Yeah.
Star Trek.
But it's just a place I don't go, but it doesn't mean it's a bad place, I did have the question though, and I'd like to start with our guests. What is the difference between a Star Wars and a Star Trek fan? This isn't like there isn't a punchline, actually.
That's like really the age-old debate, which it never really made sense to me. They're both two popular franchises, 2-word franchises titled that begin with Star. That's the only similarities they have, really. Like Star Wars is fantasy, Star Trek is sci-fi.
And do you ever in your life, have you ever encountered somebody who loves Star Wars, I guess Jerry does, and hates Star Trek, but for the most part, it seems like, at least among my people, everybody digs both of them.
There's a place for both of them.
I agree.
Yeah.
They're two very different things.
Yeah,
I'd
they
say.
are. They're very, very different.
The more
And I
Star, the
think-
better.
Yeah,
That's right.
But I think what you said
Well,
about
maybe
Star
not,
Wars
maybe
being... Well, I think what you said about Star Wars being fantasy is important because I think Star Wars is easier to jump into for a casual fan.
Yeah.
Oh, that might be,
Yeah.
yeah. Which is strange, even though Star Trek is just like a very episodic TV show.
Yeah.
And, you know, somehow people were able to jump into Star Trek 4 and appreciate it when probably they hadn't seen 2 or 3 or any Star Trek, maybe. I don't know.
And the really good Star Trek is all really about ethics and like philosophy, I'd say. Whereas like, you know, Star Wars is just a fun adventure.
I'm going to go out on a limb and everyone's going to yell at me. I'm going to say that Star Wars is my kid fixation that is carried into my adulthood, whereas Star Trek, once I became mature and intelligent and emotionally centered, that's when I got into Star Trek, because Star Trek is for smart people.
I would actually second that.
Oh, okay.
I'm feeling more into Star Trek right now. I mean, yeah, especially since I'm following you on your journey through all the original series alphabetically with your podcast, which is a whole lot of fun for all of you who haven't done that yet.
ABCDTOS. Thank you.
There you go. Shameless plug. But you know, I think it's like a lot of things with maturity. I mean, I'm finding that with myself with, you know, now that I'm in my 50s early, you know, with music and things like right now, like what's currently playing on my Spotify is Bill Evans. So there you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think the problem for Jerry and me is that we haven't either become intelligent or matured or emotionally centered.
It's never too late. Well, for anyone who doesn't know, or who needs just like a quick, you know, which one is this? This is the one with the whales. This is the whales one.
Mm-hmm.
The crew of the Enterprise goes back in time to 1986, and they bring some whales back to the future because a space probe is killing the Earth trying to talk to whales. And they aren't there anymore. They've gone extinct.
Tom, I have to ask, so do you think this is a direct sequel to Assignment Earth?
Wow, wait a minute. Yes. Gosh, why didn't they run into Gary 7 when they were doing this on this mission? That's a really good question. Wow. It should have been. Yeah, I mean, the answer is yes, it should have been.
So, but in reality, this is the third episode of a trilogy, you know, between 2, 3, and 4.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like
in a very odd direction of a trilogy where, you know, the first two are pretty dark and dreary, and then you follow it up with something jovial, you know, and lighthearted.
Yeah. And I guess they're only really a trilogy. It's weird the way they're a trilogy, because like the each movie ends in such a way that there's a little more story to tell, even though it wasn't exactly a cliffhanger or anything. Yeah, like at the end of 3, Jerry, I'll help you out with this. At the end of 3, they find Spock. Spock and Bones had Spock's katra in his brain, and they put them back together, and everybody's happy and everything's great. And that's why Spock is a little goofy at the beginning of this one, looking like Rick Ocasek in a big white robe, not quite himself. Yeah, so it's kind of like a situational, and it's weird. Like the whole time they're not in the Enterprise in this movie; they're in this stolen Klingon ship from the last movie.
They're not on the Enterprise, and Uhura is the only one in uniform, really.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. You know, Spock is very interesting in this, and so from what I gather, he's been resurrected. And so, is this kind of like a post-crucifixion resurrection Jesus? Because he's kind of trans. You know, it's like he has a transfiguration. He's wearing all white, and he kind of comes back, and you know, I always feel like when Jesus returns, like right before Pentecost, and you know, he's pretty mellow. And he's not doing all this crazy stuff that you kind of wished he did, like go kick Pontius Pilate's ass.
He's been through some shit, man.
Yeah. You know,
he's seen it all.
Yeah, no,
it's go around and just like appear to some people and kind of goose them a a and be like,
yeah.
Are we talking about Spock or Jesus now?
Either one.
Either one. That's why I was thinking about that throughout, you know, while I was watching this. He kind of, he sort of appears and he floats in, and you know, I mean, Spock in this sort of deals with becoming human, right?
Yeah.
So if you choose like on Star Trek, he's sort of I don't know, he's almost like a demigod or something like that a little bit. He's like the smartest dude and he knows the most stuff and he knows that those are whales talking and he can calculate everything but he has to deal with, he says like, well, then I'll make my best guess. And you're like, "Oh wow, he's like divine and human." It's kind of interesting.
Well, he is half human.
Yeah.
He is half. Hey, maybe Tom has the answer to this, but in going through, just thinking back to all the other stuff, when do we find out that Spock is half human? Because I'm trying to, I can't think of when that was revealed. If that was revealed,
I think it's really early.
In the original
very
series.
First episodes, yeah. It's definitely in the original series, yeah.
Okay.
They don't beat around the bush with it, if I remember correctly. It's been a while since I watched the original series from the beginning, but it's laid out pretty early on.
Yeah, even when he's kind of like slightly not quite fully baked Spock, like he's kind of like yelling a little bit and smiling sometimes. He's like, because one of my ancestors, like they're kind of weird about it. Like one of my ancestors mated with a human or something doesn't mean I have to laugh at your jokes or something like that.
One of his ancestors being his mom.
Yeah, his mom. Yeah.
His mom. Right.
And then,
that mom
and then presumably sometime
or his
after,
dad, actually, yeah.
Sometime after the original series, he wants to get rid of his human side, and you catch up with him in the motion picture when he's about to fully embrace all his Vulcan ancestry and culture, and completely shoo away any human emotion. But then V'ger brings him back, pretty much. This is really stupid.
No.
Stuff, he's always struggled with. That's always been like the internal struggle of Spock is his human emotions with his Vulcan. Vulcanness.
Yeah,
I have to say that I and Jason and I were talking about this earlier that I find Spock in this film to be absolutely brilliant because he's still himself, but he's trying to figure it all out at the same time and also help with the mission. So, he needs a little bit of assistance and I find a lot of the stuff between Bones and Spock when is it Bones that kind of tells him he needs to make his best guess and is that Kirk? And then he has a few other interactions with Bones that it seems like Bones for a lot of this is just kind of set aside to nurture Spock through a lot of this, which I thought was kind of an interesting thing.
Yeah, especially because historically they're the ones who are always at each other's throats and everything, amiably, but they never get along and stuff. And
there is a little bit. I feel like this one has a little bit of missed opportunity, really exploring Bones and Spock's relationship after Bones essentially carried his soul for a while.
Yeah. Well, he tries. Bones tries to, chat him up about it.
There's a little bit in there, but
yeah.
But I feel like, and Jerry, I want to apologize in advance for this, but I feel like they handled Spock trying to become human much better than Data trying to become human.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think the excellent Star Trek podcast, Mission Log, they introduced to me the idea that Spock actually has a really good arc across all of the movies. That in one, like you mentioned, Jason, he's about to like give up all emotion, all ties to any kind of humanity. He's become fully logical and Vulcan. He gives that up, and then in 2 he dies, and in 3 he comes back, and in this one he's trying to find his footing again. And then after this, like in 5 and 6, and then even like in Next Generation when he shows up, he's like maybe like where before he might have been like 10% human. Now he's like maybe 35% human. Like he's a little more in tune with his human side, a little like and letting that freely out. Yeah.
If you watch Star Trek 6, he's definitely settled into the character that he will be for the rest of his life, presumably.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not so much trying to keep that human side at bay. Like he's kind of embracing that a little more.
I'm just curious then in the Star Trek-verse, is he dumber than a regular Vulcan?
No. He's Johnny on the spot. He's
but
good.
I mean, does the human do the human genes dumb him down, kind of water down his logic?
His logic?
Side?
A little bit. I'd say, like, or at least
really?
I think I always thought he had the sense that it did. Like he's a little, I don't know. There's sometimes he seems a little envious of like full Vulcans who completely set aside emotions at certain points in Star Trek lore.
Yeah,
But
but I don't know if that impacts his intellect at all.
no, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Vulcans being all logical and everything, has there ever been an explanation as to why Spock's mom is human and why would Spock's dad mate with a human?
I don't know.
Well, when Sarek makes a couple appearances in Next Generation, which is like 80, 90 years after the original series, and he has a new human wife, so I think he's just freaky deaky like that.
That's just his thing.
Yeah.
But he
Got a human
also,
fetish.
this is the wrong movie, but like in 3, he apparently it's a regular thing for Vulcans when they're going to die, they pass on their essence to somebody, and Spock sort of does this almost accidentally in 2, right before he dies. And there's the
Oh, he doesn't do it
it's like
accidentally. He does it deliberately.
he does it deliberately, but it's not like a big deal. He doesn't make it's not like a big ritual or anything.
Yeah, he didn't
But,
do it
like-
with the intent of being resurrected.
But Sarek immediately is like, we got to bring my son back to Vulcan and fuse him back with this thing. And when he gets to Vulcan, they're all like, this hasn't been done in a long time, Sarek. You sure you want to? It's like, there is something different about Sarek and he seems like he's
more
completely
mystical.
emotionless, but he's got a super soft spot for his son that must not be there for all Vulcans because they're not all trying to, not all Vulcans live forever because they keep dying and putting their contra in somebody and then coming back. They don't have dads who love them as much as Sarek does. I'm going to cry. Well, should we step through this movie a little bit, like logically and
Sure.
and linearly?
Logically,
or,
yes.
Logically, say.
Humanly.
What did you think about that? The beginning there, the thing about the Challenger.
Oh,
Oof.
yeah.
That's heartbreaking.
That was like the same year, right? That it just happened that year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was I saw Star Trek 3 in the theater in its initial run, and this one as well. And I do remember when that came up on the screen, it was, like the opening weekend or something. I was there with my dad or something like that. And the whole audience burst into applause.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we had the same experience actually too. Yeah. Because it was pretty new. It was pretty raw.
And I think they let out school for us that day. Like I remember just that whole day was so surreal when it happened.
Oh, wow. Really?
Oh.
Like it just.
I was 2 years old, so I.
Oh, okay.
I actually have a weird, dumb Star Trek connection to that. This is so dumb. I was at my locker in high school, and my friend came up to me. He's like, "Oh, did you hear about the shuttle?" I was like, "Yeah, what the hell is it?" Every time you go down to the shuttle bay, the shuttle's busted and you can't go anywhere. Because I thought he was talking about the Star Trek, text-based game that we were both playing. He's like, "No, the shuttle exploded." I'm like, "Oh, never mind." My whole life is Star Trek.
So on a lighter note, we have the opening credits, and I am not into this composer.
No.
For Star Trek.
It's interesting.
Thank you.
It felt like a
It's
TV movie to me. Like
It's very
feel
TV.
cinematic.
Yeah.
And he was nominated for Academy Award for
He
this.
sure was.
Wow.
Wow.
And
Oh, boy.
so if anybody has, if you're one of the 3 people who's seen Ralph Bakshi's Lord of the Rings film,
sure.
Leonard Rosenman did the music for that.
Oh, nice.
And if you can find it on Spotify, it's the last track on the album. The latter half of the last track is the closing credits. And if you listen to that after listening to this, about half of the Star Trek theme during the credits is the Lord of the Rings theme.
Oh,
I mean,
boy.
Wow.
a direct
Wow.
lift.
Wow.
Oh,
So,
man.
and apparently, they tried to get James Horner to come back for a third film. He had done 2 and 3, and he declined. And I guess Leonard Rosenman, is that his name? He and Leonard Nimoy were friends, and so that was Leonard Nimoy's choice. And there's certain areas of the film where it's all fine, but as far as like the opening credits go, it's just I feel like you're about to watch like a David Niven World War II film or something. And,
Yeah. It's
and-
weird because there's no like we got that amazing Jerry Goldsmith theme for Star Trek: The
yeah.
Motion Picture, but then he didn't come back for 2, so they just didn't have James Horner use that theme for some reason. So we don't have like a Star Trek theme that sticks with all the movies.
Star Trek, the original series movies have really kind of been inconsistent with their scores. I would say just going because then Goldsmith came back for 5, but mainly they just reused the motion picture theme.
Yeah, which by then was
Next
like
Generation
the
was
Next
really
Generation
popular at the time.
Yeah.
Well, now, didn't this movie came out? Was it around Christmas?
yeah, it was.
Okay.
Or
Yeah.
the holidays. It
The
might have been
holidays,
Thanksgiving.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it did. I mean, it did have. Actually, I mean, my note was the opening music sounds like a Doubting Thomas is throwing open the midnight sash and spying Santa Claus.
No, there is. I was going to say that I have Christmas in my notes too. And
Yeah,
by the way,
there's
Merry
something.
Christmas.
Yeah.
I don't
This is-
know what it
dun,
is.
dun,
Maybe
dun.
maybe there's a
got bells and
jingle
stuff.
bell in there. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it sounds very holiday like.
I feel like it's like a Buck Rogers holiday special TV movie from the 70s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And in other parts of the score, it does, like later on in the movie, it sounds very kind of nautical in a good way, I think. But yeah, I really like the Jerry. I'm mixing them all up. The James Horner.
Yeah, I like the James Horner
score,
soundtrack.
James
and the
Horner
Jerry
was
Goldsmith
great.
was awesome. And yeah, it's like when you are thrust into this one of the ba 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 ba, you're like, oh boy, wait a minute.
Yeah, and,
what am I watching?
And then I think another egregious example is when Chekhov is on the run aboard the aircraft carrier, and he goes,
Oh, right.
Oh, wait, hold
That
on.
is
It's all
so
frisky
madcap.
and fun. And,
That was really, that was madcap annoying.
yeah.
And it had a little bit. It was like, but sprinkle some, I don't know, Tchaikovsky over it. It had.
Now wait,
had,
we got to
you know,
say, like, how is that different? I don't know what the answer is, but I have to ask because we work here. How is that different from the kind of jaunty, fun music during the Cairo basket chase scene?
That's an excellent.
Well,
Yeah.
that's-
It's not that
that's
different.
that's
is it?
throw in some Leonard Bernstein.
I mean, like really, that scene and also the Cairo basket scene. I mean, that shows you like how important music score is to a film and how they can like really dictate the mood of what
Yeah.
you're watching.
Yeah.
Because like Chekhov running through the ship, being chased by like the FBI and the army. That I mean, you put a little bit of a darker theme to it. It would play out very threatening.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Like they do that.
yeah, it
They
would.
do that kind of music again in the hospital where they're all running from the.
Right.
Oh, that's just
Oh,
silly.
yeah.
That's a silly time. They're having
That
a good
is. I mean,
time.
that I was. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like it fits better in that scene. Yeah.
Yeah,
It
well,
just-
this is.
it doesn't. There's not a lot of this movie that feels dangerous. Like a lot of, I mean, it doesn't.
That's
you
true.
never really feel like anybody's in a great deal of danger because
Even with
The
like this
music tends to
giant
be
probe, like
so
sucking
jaunty.
the
Even-
energy out of everything and stuff.
Even with all that B-roll of bad weather. I mean,
Yeah.
Sped
Well,
up.
okay,
Yeah.
so but we have to think for a second. It's 1986.
Mhm.
And you're like, okay, nothing bad happened in 1986 other than unfortunately the Challenger.
Challenger,
I know, but
yeah.
yes, but
Yeah.
the 80s were this fun run around kind of like because I was watching this, and there's other parts of the movie that could be not from the 80s. You know, I thought there were a few parts, but so much of it was like, oh, well, this is the 80s. I mean, that's just how they did stuff. It was
Yeah.
just sort of, you know, it was kind of buoyant and bubbly, and you know, everybody's playing in McDonald Land play balls, and that's how it felt. And so you're right, this was not. I mean, I know that was Leonard Nimoy's vision, but it was also sort of under the canopy of the '80s. I don't know. It was like, well, no wonder they're playing this type of music.
Mhm.
Yeah. Hopefully, I've just brought everybody down.
No,
That's
it's
what
all
it
right.
sounds like.
It's fine. The 1980s and my generation's still paying for it. It's all right.
That's right.
So-
I think we get Starfleet's first female and also black captain. in
Yeah,
this opening scene.
she's awesome. I would love to see a show with her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's very cool.
She's
fantastic.
if I'm not mistaken, she is uncredited in this film.
Oh, really?
And apparently she came back later in one of the other series, of which, to be honest, I've only seen Next Generation and the original series. I haven't really seen anything else.
She,
Me too.
being a Star Trek person, that's Commander Geordi LaForge's mother.
Yeah.
Oh, you're kidding.
Really?
Just off the top of
Wow.
my head, whatever.
Oh, that's
But-
funny.
But it's like, how does that happen that you have a fairly significant part in a film and you don't have a credit in the credits? How does that work with SAG
really
rules
weird.
and all that? But
Yeah.
and people are probably screaming because I could be completely wrong. But looking through my notes, that's what I found online, so it must be true.
See?
I love the white-haired guy.
Oh, he's cool, yeah.
Yeah, sitting and the one thing that I never noticed before that I noticed this time wearing headphones watching the movie on a laptop late at night is as soon as the power goes down on the ship and it's, kind of listing to the side, even though that wouldn't really matter too much in space, but it does for the camera. And you hear him go, as the thing, it just like brought a big smile on my face.
He's the grumpiest helmsman. He's always assuming the worst.
And whatever that, I can't remember what species that is, but that's in part 6. The Federation president is one of those people.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Clarence
yeah,
Bodiger.
That's right.
Yeah, Clarence Bodiger, exactly.
I love that we cut to Starfleet and they're talking about Kirk. And I love that Starfleet is so into the crew of the Enterprise that they actually have a copy of Star Trek 3.
It's amazing. I mean, they must have had a Blu-ray around somewhere because
Yeah.
the
Maybe
Blu-rays
they were
offered
streaming at that point.
Klingon subtitles back then too.
Its security footage is so advanced they even show external footage of the Enterprise
Yeah.
exploding.
Just the way I remembered it.
There's something pretty fishy going on with Starfleet.
Oh, yeah?
How so?
Well, in some movies, Starfleet is in San Francisco, but in this movie, it's in Marin County.
Oh. I don't know the
they moved
difference. Dude,
back
I don't
and
tell.
either.
forth
I
across
was
the
assumed
Golden
it's San
Gate Bridge.
Francisco.
No,
Oh,
they're
on
you see
the
San
other side
Francisco in the back on the other side of the bay.
Oh, they're on the wrong side of the...
Oh.
Yeah, they're on the north
Okay.
side of the bridge.
Because they showed the Golden Gate Bridge in the map painting of the establishing shot. But,
Yeah, it's weird because like in all the newer stuff, San Francisco's right on the other side of the bridge.
Ah, weird.
maybe they had.
But do they, I mean, is that like, if you're close enough to San Francisco, you're like, oh yeah, we're in San Francisco. Like, is it just like, is San Francisco
Well, maybe, but
shorthand for
I mean,
that area or
it's
something?
literally on a different side of the bridge in other movies.
Yeah. I'm
it would be
sorry.
like, up here, if, you showed a skyline of Seattle from Bellevue or something.
Mhm.
Those are for you Seattleites, people who are listening. You know what I'm talking about.
Well, like Amazon and Microsoft, they have offices in Bellevue and they got offices in Seattle. So it is Starfleet. So maybe they had
Maybe,
to
yeah, maybe they're on
expand.
both
Maybe some
sides.
satellite offices.
Yeah.
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 Did you notice that you can see the wreckage of Zoran's balloon in the bay?
Oh,
Keen-eyed viewers can pick that out. John Shuck, who plays this Klingon, who's all
Painless
furious
Pole.
at Kirk. He what?
Painless Pole from MASH. I remember
That's
him.
right, exactly. He's
Yeah.
painless. He's what's that name or that show? Yo-Yo and whatever.
He was Herman Mumster
Holmes and
in
Yo-Yo.
the Mumsters Return or the New Mumsters,
Yeah.
the 80s sitcom. So
So-
it's not very good, but
No,
So
I saw
he-
him in Annie on Broadway when I was a kid.
was he Daddy Warbucks?
He was Daddy Warbucks. Yeah,
sick.
So we're talking about the Klingon ambassador.
yeah.
Oh yeah. So I noticed that. Do Klingons find the Earth rather cold because he is dressed for winter?
oh.
He's putting on a show.
He's
Yeah,
got.
he's-
I mean, God, that sweater is amazing. It looked hand knit.
yeah.
That's actually literally
His grandmother.
true. Like everybody that visits San Francisco in the summer and hasn't been here before, they come here wearing like shorts and t-shirts. You're like, and then it's 55 degrees and they end up wearing like 8 fleece jackets and all kinds
Uh-huh.
of stuff. So I think that
was me.
tracks actually. That's the most accurate part of the film.
Yeah.
Oh.
And Klingon is pretty, hot. It's pretty volcanic and weird. So yeah, I would imagine that they'd find San Francisco.
Is that the name of
chilly.
the planet? Klingon? It's not Kling.
Kronos.
Oh, yeah, Kronos. You're right.
Oh,
I should have said the
Jason.
Klingon homeworld, and then nobody would have questioned me. Damn it. Oh, well.
So I find that all these extras, all these alien extras, they do an amazing job just really reacting to everything going on in this. In this
Did you hear
thing.
that? Oh, no. Peas and carrots, peas and carrots.
they kind of reminded me a little bit of the Cantina crowd in the Star Wars Holiday Special.
Yeah,
Like they all
Yeah.
seem a little more low rent than aliens. in
Little
some
off
of
the shelf.
Star Trek. Yeah.
Some of them, yeah. Some of them are kind of cool, and they put some effort into it. And then, there's like, oh, that's just that poor woman can't move her face at all. She doesn't have a face. It's a mask. So sad.
The guys with the gold faceplates, the twins.
Yeah. Those guys are cool.
And then we cut to Vulcan.
Yeah. Where they've got the Bounty. They named the ship the Bounty.
The Bounty. Does
Yeah.
that
What's-
paint? Does that paint hold up in space?
I don't know if
Oh.
you see it the rest of the
Wow,
movie. Do
that's
you?
interesting.
Yeah.
I meant to look for that actually. I don't know if that's on there the rest of the time. Maybe it does get wiped off.
Yeah, would it just burn off when you enter an atmosphere? Or
They do slingshot around the sun. That does
yeah.
Yeah, that might.
wreckage on your paint job.
Who are the dudes with the lipstick hats?
Oh yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Those are nerds.
So Vulcans are logical people, logical beings. So if you're a mechanic, do you really want something that's 2 feet tall coming off the top of your head while you're ducking under wings and pipes and all that?
Yeah. No,
You know-
you don't.
I saw that this was actually filmed at Vasquez State Park.
Yes,
Oh,
and
there
you
you go.
see.
You went there, right?
I did. No, I went to Griffith Park. Is that it?
Oh,
Where they did,
sure.
yeah, where
Batman's
the Bat
Cave.
Cave is,
Yeah.
and Bread and Circus's cave, and yeah.
They had so much stuff over there. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
did. They did. A lot of the Star Trek stuff was in Vasquez State Park, which is about, I don't know, it's not that, maybe 30 or 40 minutes north
Mhm.
of outside of Los Angeles, just kind of north, and it's very cool.
So
That's where that
Tom.
rock face from the arena is, right?
yeah, well,
Yeah.
and also one other episode, I do believe, Tom.
Oh, wait, those same rocks?
it-
Yes.
Isn't that
probably.
in the alternative factor?
Oh, you're right. It is. Yeah. I forget the alternative factor because it sucks.
Is that season 3?
I think you're right.
Yeah.
No, I think it's season 1, actually.
Oh, I can't remember.
Just awful. Yeah.
I was making notes in addition to the hats that Bones looks like. Basically, he's wearing the interior of a 1986 Chrysler LeBaron.
Wow.
He
Yeah.
is.
All their outfits are they're not great. They're pretty goofy.
Yeah, like the
Like-
flared pants going into the boots and the.
Yeah.
The
Chekhov
rounded
looks like a
collars.
little Dutch boy or
Yeah.
something. And, yeah.
I was looking at him, and I was thinking, if he wasn't on Star Trek or like the Doctor on the Enterprise or whatever, like what would he do? There's something
Sell used cars.
I can't
Yeah.
tell. It's like he
Big
has,
curmudgeon.
he has a specific look to him, but I
Okay,
can't
so
describe it.
Going back to Star Trek: The Motion Picture, when we first are introduced to McCoy, he got drafted back into Starfleet, and his everyday clothing is like a discotheque suit with a beard and a giant gold medallion. So
Yeah.
that tells you all you need to know about Leonard McCoy.
He was in a Bee Gees cover band when they called him up.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes. So Spock is retraining his mind, I guess, and taking this crazy test with all these computers going at once.
Mhm.
And it asks him how he feels, and he doesn't know what they're talking about. And he's
And,
all weirded out. And he's got to talk to Jane Wyatt from Father Knows Best.
Yeah, and the I like how the Vulcan computers use Comic Sans as their font.
Yeah, I was cracking up. at that.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a little rough. Yeah.
Well, between that and the matte painting of the bounty seems remarkably poor for a
Yeah.
movie of
It's
this
it's
budget
of
at
the
this
time.
time.
It's of the time, I think, don't you?
I guess I feel like the special effects get a lot better in this movie as it goes on, but
They do. That wasn't the best matte painting of the ship. I would say that.
So the ship, the scale of the ship, like in the big wide shot matte painting, when the guys with the eraser heads are coming out, it seems like the interior of the ship is a whole heck of a lot larger than the exterior of the ship.
Yeah.
Just like if you look at that exterior, you look you look at the guys coming out. Like, could you really fit 2 whales in there?
That's a really good
Wow.
point. Yeah. And it's weird too because they actually redesigned the interior of the bridge set from the last movie.
Yes.
It's totally different. So why didn't they maybe, I don't know, beef up some other parts so they could fit some whales in there? I don't know. That's a good point.
Well, they weren't expecting to fit whales in there yet, but
I guess. Oh, you think they actually like diegetically within the movie they redesigned the bridge? Like Kirk's like, no, I like Spock over there, and I like Chekhov right where I can see him, and yeah.
I do like that bridge layout. I think it suits everything
works.
really well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is this where we get Savik? Or is that later on?
Oh,
She's
no.
in it for just a second.
She's in it for just right before they're about to depart.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
There was
she...
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, were you going to say she had to stay because she's pregnant with Spock's Pon-farr child?
That was the story. That was like the big. I remember like everybody in Starlog magazine saying that. Like, oh yeah, if you read between the lines, you can see that she's totally pregnant with Spock's kid.
That was part of her treatment to get him through it.
Yeah, she Pon-farred him up real good. Traced his fingers, if you know what I mean. And I guess, but yeah, wasn't he like he was like a 17-year-old kid or something at that point when they were doing that on the Genesis?
Well,
the whole thing is a little. Whenever I heard that story or that theory that she was pregnant, I was like, oh, okay, well, she was his student, or he was like, her mentor. It's still a little sketchy, but like she was an adult and he was an adult in Star Trek 2.
Different standards in Vulcan, please.
Well, I
guess so.
I
We don't need to put our human, earthly,
I don't think
rules
that
of
James
conduct
Doohan
on
would
it.
have any issue with it. If
no.
But yeah, I was never into the Savik. I was a Kirstie Alley Savik guy myself. But what are you gonna do?
Do they
What are you gonna
explain
do?
why she looks different? Like, is there like an in-universe explanation?
No, not at all.
Huh?
They
I think she just got a perm and that was good enough.
Yeah.
Is it true that the Klingon ship smells?
Apparently,
yeah,
I buy
I'm
that.
sure it's horrible.
The Klingon
Yeah.
seems stinky.
Like, is it now? Do you
Like
think
rotten meat and BO and other things.
Yeah.
you think it smells to them?
would
To the Klingons?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably, but in a good way.
would
Or
that
it's like like everybody's house has their own smell, and you probably don't smell your own house the way other people do, or something.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Jared knows.
And the Klingons, they must have had a deal with Recaro seats because those chairs in the bridge are basically Recaro chairs out of a 1984 Porsche 928.
Oh, nice.
They even have the little emblem removed, I believe, in the middle pleat sort of
Wow.
thing. You can kind of see that they're definitely adapted high-end sports car seats they put in there.
It's
kinda
beautiful
cool.
attention to detail.
Yeah, I had a Road and Track subscription when I was a teenager. So,
Oh, nice.
I saw those ads in the back. I do love how Uhura says, communications officer as ready as she'll ever be. When
Right.
not sure if that was
Yep.
directed at anybody, but
Yeah. We just asked if you're ready. What? We need your life story. Sheesh.
She's got her
Wait, so-
earpiece in. She's ready. She's fine. She's
Yeah.
good to go.
What rank is everybody here? Like, are they all captains?
They're all
or-
commanders.
They're all
I
commanders.
think. Yeah.
But
Is that
aren't
like
they
Remember
also
that
one
like,
people
in Star
captain?
Trek?
Can't they also assume that they've all been fired? That they're all like going to be court-martialed as soon as they get back, so it might not matter anyway? I'm always a little surprised that they're like, I'm not surprised, but it's like, oh, like all that's keeping them together is their loyalty to each other and to Kirk and Spock and everything. It's not like, oh, I wouldn't want to disobey your order, Kirk. Like, what are you going to do? Fire me? Court-martial me? That'd be awful. It's exactly what's going to happen when I get home.
Yeah.
Oh, and back on there's a little tie with our last episode with you guys, because in the background, we're back at Starfleet headquarters where everything's going all nuts and it's raining and everything. In the background, we see another captain of a ship, and it's VJ from Octopussy.
VJ.
Yes. In a dire situation.
Yeah, he's having a tough time. Poor guy. And he was a tennis star, right?
Yeah.
That actor?
Tennis pro.
Yeah. Good for him. Tennis in the 23rd century. I like it.
Yeah.
This Starfleet seems remarkably inept. Like they feel. I feel like they are reacting to things quite a bit after they should have been making decisions. Like they're not evacuating the space station. They're not evacuating the ships until that thing's right there already. And it feels like every decision they make, like when they go to red alert, it's after everything is already dead. I just feel like they're very slow on the uptake with a lot of this.
And I'm very curious why they have glass windows down on Earth when they, transparent aluminum all the way.
Right.
Yeah.
Or maybe transparent aluminum shatters like that under the right conditions.
Maybe they have giant suction cups to handle those glass windows.
They'll take care of it. Yeah. Those worked out pretty well. Oh, Jerry, did you see who's in the background on one of those screens? I'm sure you did.
Is it the woman on the right?
Yeah.
No, who?
It's,
Who was it?
Cute Jane Weedland from the Go-Go's.
Oh, you're kidding. Really?
No, yeah. She's back
Wow.
there.
She even has lines. You can hear her talking.
Yeah.
Aw.
She's
Something about needing a vacation. That's all she ever wanted.
I'm a Gina Shock guy myself.
I know.
So the Starfleet, they have to tap into the planetary power reserves.
Yeah. Is that a button or something? Or give us all the planetary power. We need that now.
Is that like a line down to the Earth's core or something? I don't know.
I don't know. And what was
What
the
does that mean?
Yeah, did they all? I mean, they're very enlightened and they're very forward thinking now in the future. Did they say there's going to be a time where we're going to run out of all our power, so let's just store it somewhere? Just make these big batteries, these giant Duracell batteries with reserve power.
I don't understand how that works. Like if something immediately turns off all the power, why does other power still work?
Yeah.
Good question.
Yeah,
like
why
when
are
they're
these
on
screens on?
Yeah.
Why anything? Yeah.
And they keep saying go to backup power, and then they just have red lights on instead of bright lights on.
Yeah.
That's when they dust off the old gas generators,
Right. Combustion? I remember this from history class. I should point out that's awesome Brock Peters.
Yes.
As
and
Admiral Cartwright.
He returns in part 6.
Yeah. I was going to say the wrong name. What's his name in To Kill a Mockingbird?
Tom.
I totally forget.
Oh yeah.
I was going to say Tom Yule, but that's the jerk, right? That's the dad of the, or is it? I don't remember.
Oh, this is going to bug me now.
Billy, Ed. I don't know.
It's
Anyway, he's awesome. We love him.
It's too bad there's nothing that we can do to find
Tom
that
Robinson.
out.
Tom Robinson.
There you go.
Tom Robinson. And Brock Peters also played Benjamin Sisko's father on DS9.
That's right. And Pete, he was Darth Vader in the radio drama.
Oh,
All
nice.
3 of them, I think.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Star Trek's a lot like the Bond series where they reuse actors a lot.
Yeah,
Right.
This is really making me think that the use of Joe Don Baker as 2 people, 3 films apart, is just really not a big deal anymore in the James Bond universe.
See? Yeah. They're actors, man.
So when they take off from Vulcan on the ship, and Bones is talking to Spock, and Spock says he did not have time to review the philosophical disciplines of Vulcan, yet at the same time he seems to know a lot about humpback whales. So I'm just kind of curious about his priority about getting his head straightened back.
It could just be that he doesn't want to talk to McCoy. He's like, I don't know nothing about no death. Leave me alone.
They had a very awkward, intimate moment for a while.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to calculate time travel. Leave me alone.
I love
Not
that
now,
answer
Bones.
though that he gives when he says we don't have any common frame of reference that you would understand.
Yeah. That's a total Tom Taylor.
You mean I have to die to go to 7-Eleven with you? Oh yeah, sorry.
I love the fact that Spock says only human arrogance would make them think that the message must be meant for man.
Right.
Yeah.
Or women.
Oh, yes. True. Sorry.
No, that's what he says. He says,
Yeah,
man.
that's
He's
what
like,
he says.
Yeah, they all do that, like over and
Yeah.
over. And in fact, I think this is a year before Next Generation premiered with their where no one has gone before. So even Star Trek hadn't quite gotten woke yet to the idea that humanity includes females. Imagine their surprise.
No, Roddenberry was a pioneer in a lot of ways, but in some ways he was a little stuck in the past.
Yes, he was. I read a little too much about that guy.
Yeah, he was like one step. I mean, like I'm sure he envied L. Ron Hubbard a little bit. I could see him being that way.
And Hugh Hefner.
Oh yeah. He was a swinger, man. You look at photos of him in like the 60s and 70s, the thick mutton chops and oof. Ugly,
Who wouldn't?
Ugly man.
Who wouldn't go swimming for that guy?
Hideous man. But man, he liked to swing.
Yeah, but Jerry, you're asking if Spock is being half human if he's not quite as intelligent as other Vulcans. He actually, like seconds after Scotty says, "Oh, we can't even," they get to Earth, but their dilithium crystals are shot, and Kirk's like, "Oh, can we recharge them?" And Scotty's like, "No, we can't even do that in the 23rd century." And Spock, like a second later, is like, "We could do."
Yeah.
To recrystallize dilithium. We could just get some photons, some nuclear photons or whatever.
Well, do you think Bones should just whisper to Kirk, should we just send Spock back into the chamber?
Right. It worked last time. He seemed to be into it. It worked. Let's just do it.
Another problem with the size and scale of the ship is that there's that kind of connecting corridor, it seems, that they're always wandering through in the vessel with the doors opening and shutting. And I think that's the exposition chamber, because every time they go in there, Bones is like kind of basically explaining the plot to all of us.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Did you
true.
just say that we're going to do this?
Now let me get this straight.
Yeah.
I actually really like Bones in this movie.
I love him.
He's
Yeah.
he's kind of prime McCoy in this.
Well, why do
With
they
his,
call
like,
him
"No, wait
Bones?
just a damn minute." I don't know. They always did.
I mean, it
That's,
says his name's McCoy.
That's
Yeah.
like an old, I think back from the Civil War era, like old Sawbones.
Yeah, Sawbones.
Oh, so that's just
Yeah.
a nickname for the dock.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
In thinking of the original series, at this point, everything up through in the Middle Seas, has he been referred to as Bones yet?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a joke about it in Cat's Paw where they're all
Okay.
chained up, and he starts to call him Bones, and then he sees a skeleton there, so he calls him Doc instead.
Okay.
Get it?
I get
Oh,
it.
cat's paw.
Oh, cat's paw.
The Halloween episode. Yes.
Yeah.
It was scary.
Although, okay, another going back to Bones. I mean, if I remember from the first J.J. Abrams Star Trek film, he makes some sort of reference to himself that like all he has left is his bones, and that's the origin that they establish why they call him Bones. But it's stupid. Don't
It's
even
stupid.
listen to
Thank
it.
you for
Yeah.
saying that.
Yeah.
We don't
It's
need everything explained.
Oh, JJ.
Sometimes a bones is just a bones.
Yes, them bones.
Oh, we get that super trippy, weird time travel sequence.
I was thinking like something out of like early David Lynch.
It kind of is. Like, oh, we're watching Dune all of a sudden.
Yeah,
I-
like
I was just thinking of the Michael Jackson black and white video. But,
Oh my god!
just and
Oh,
then
it's kind of like morphing heads. And stuff.
yeah, and then you throw a mannequin in a pool of water and you're good to go. Followed by a Tarkovsky Solaris reads, and then you're good.
Those reads always, every single time I watch this movie, those reads mess me up because I think that's the end of the trippy sequence,
Yeah.
and we're on Earth, and like the
Yeah.
red is like the ship
Yeah.
going over or something,
Yeah,
and it's
totally,
not.
yeah.
It's just like some weird little image at the end of their little acid slingshot freakout.
now, okay, going back to like the time travel, going and Assignment Earth. Like I watched the episode not that long ago, and they're just very casually already back in time. Like it's like every other Tuesday they go back in time to Earth to observe it.
Yeah.
It's really stupid, actually. But Did they make any mention in that one of like slingshotting around the sun?
Yeah,
to go back
in fact,
time?
yeah. Before Assignment Earth, there's an episode. Tomorrow is Yesterday, where they accidentally, I think they accidentally. We're not in the Y's yet, or the T's yet. I'm sorry, but they accidentally do that. They do the slingshot around the sun thing and accidentally go back in time, and that's why they're there. And then at the end of that episode, they're like, hey, now that we know about time travel, we can have all sorts of wacky adventures in the past. And like the only time they do that is Assignment Earth, and it's done.
But why?
Now that we-
If they can go back in time and then come back to any time they choose, why would they not like spend some time to go build a better ship to go back in time that has like whale carrying
Right.
capabilities?
Yeah,
Like, 'cause it
or
seems
collect
like-
more than 2 whales.
It seems like there's no urgency. Like if they're just going to go back in
Yeah.
time and they can come back before the emergency starts.
I mean,
Yeah.
they could do that every long weekend.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
what
maybe the
Assignment Earth
whales-
feels like. That's what they. It's like once a month they go back in time. That's what it's. That's a stupid episode, I think.
But I mean, in the context of this movie, it kind of makes sense because they're in a rickety ship and they're not really, everything's just hanging by a thread that they can just barely. They can't get any help
Yeah.
from Earth or anything. Well, you
Yeah.
think they could go to somebody else? There are
Go to-
other planets in the.
Yeah,
Well, time is of
Vulcan,
the essence.
I guess so,
There's
yeah.
stakes
Pressure's
involved.
on.
It's.
And
Yeah.
the sun's not that small or dangerous. You can fly right around it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have your shields up. You're
What's
good.
fascinating about this movie, and I know this was by design, Leonard Nimoy didn't really want like a menacing villain in the traditional
Yeah.
sense, but what's just fascinating is this probe appears over the Earth and starts talking whale.
Right.
And
Yeah.
all you don't know why. It's like, why does it mess up everybody's communications? Just why?
And like every ship
Yeah.
it passes just starts sucking in.
Yeah, no matter what.
Yeah.
And it comes to the whales to talk to the whales. And it's
Well,
like it's like just messing up everybody's communication. It's basically holding the Earth hostage until the whales respond.
Yeah.
And you know what
Well,
sucks? I'm
petulant.
just putting this together. What sucks is the whales are dead, and that's the truth. Except they go back in time to fool the probe to think that the whales were alive in the 23rd century. And that's
Or
just
just,
bogus.
Well, no, I think the whales all went extinct in the 21st century because so many ships figured out the same thing. There are like 20 ships that went back at the same time and picked up a set of whales.
Yeah. We kept we're blaming ourselves, but it was really those probe aliens who harvested all our whales.
So, but to Jerry's point, I do like there's a bit of sense of mystery. We don't need a full explanation as to why it sucks the
Yeah.
power and,
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
causes stock footage to speed up. But
There are no subtitles at the end when the whales are talking to the probe.
yes, that's where I was going. Because,
We're
yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the apparently Paramount wanted them to throw in a scene or subtitles where
Oh,
where
God.
Spock is interpreting what the probe is saying, and the probe is
Oh, boy.
saying, "Where are you? Where are you?"
Oh my God.
No.
and Leonard Nimoy convinced them, no, that's not a good idea. And
That's awesome.
yeah,
Well, he
so
does know
he's a
that, is
smart
it
guy.
Gracie's pregnant?
he does.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe I remembered that whale's name. No, and so he does talk. I guess they. It's what are they trying to? We're assuming, I guess, is the narrative to be like, okay, so this is a whale philic race, or there's whales on the probe,
Or that whales are just another intelligent species on Earth, and our human arrogance discounts that.
yeah,
And-
but
and-
it's so
and
it's,
these
this is
they
like
had a
a
relationship with these aliens or something.
but this is like
Yeah.
a whale minder.
yeah.
And they're coming
Yeah.
to double check, although they've never come before, at least not that we know of. I guess they haven't
Yeah.
heard from the whales because the whales are dead.
hmm
They're
No,
extinct,
I think
and so-
they have to have some kind of prior relationship because at the end of this, when the probe communicates with the whales, like when a humpback whale sings, it turns upside down vertically, and the probe does the same thing when
Does
it
the
same
communicates
thing,
with
yeah.
the whales.
Oh, that's
so
right. I never
I
even
think
put that
it's
together.
Yeah.
I think they either like the probe must have come before humans were around and were friends with the whales or something. Like it seems like they have a pre-existing relationship.
Well, see, okay, not to get too far forward here, but look, so what happens is the whales are going to go, they're going to meet the probe, everything's cool, and the probe's going to say to the whales, so listen, we didn't hear from you guys from a while. How's everything? And the whales are going to be like, oh, no, we're dead.
Yeah.
We died
Well, whales don't know they're dead.
200 or 300 years ago. Well, they probably, I think the whales know that wherever, in the 23rd century ocean, they're like, hey, this is weird, man. This is not the same Pacific that we were in,
It tastes different.
3 hours
Yeah,
ago.
it's like
Yeah, exactly.
10
It's
degrees warmer.
Well, also,
Exactly.
you can assume, as human language evolves over history and time, maybe whale song does too. They could be speaking a completely different language with the probe then.
They
Oh,
make
yeah.
it sound, but that's true. But it's like they make it seem like the whales and everybody's happy at the end. But you're like, no, you're completely changing the narrative. There's a false narrative. There's only 2 of us left, and we're only here because these dudes cheated. Like our entire species died 200 or 300 years ago.
Or are they aware enough of the situation to be like, hey, no, humans, they made a terrible mistake, but you know what? They fixed it. They went back in time. They got us. We're good. We're try
like
to
Adam
convince
and
them to
Eve
go
with
back and get
whales.
some
Yeah, I was
others,
gonna
'cause we can't
say
just keep
that-
having sex with each other this whole time. That's not going to work to repopulate the species. We need some more, but we're good for now. Thank you.
Well, you can assume medical technology would probably get rid of any incestual gene that would make some sort of birth defects.
Oh,
So
maybe.
maybe they can repopulate.
Or maybe they can just clone them. Just keep cloning
Yeah.
them. Now they got
Yeah.
a couple. Yeah. The future
Or just
solves
let them
everything.
die, whatever.
Sure. Yeah, now the probe's gone. When's that going to come back?
Exactly.
Oh, no, another million years. Oh, no.
I do though. I think the part of this movie that I really identify with is when Kirk and Spock first decide they're going to do the time travel thing.
Mm-hmm.
And McCoy all he does is talk about how crazy it is, but he doesn't have any plan of his own. So he's just like,
Right.
that's a bad idea. That's a bad idea. And they're like, do you have any ideas? Well, no, but that's a
No.
bad idea. That's a bad idea.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much mostly what McCoy does. He
Right.
he just shits on your idea, pretty much.
He's either yelling at you to do something or yelling at you to not do that thing.
I've often wondered with McCoy. He's the ship's doctor, and yet there's so many episodes of the original series and the films where he's hanging on the bridge or hanging over a shoulder and watching on, or he's on the away party, and so is it because of his rank that he's should he just be down in sickbay the whole time?
Yeah, I guess he's
Yeah.
close
Should he
enough with the captain. He gets to hang out on the bridge whenever he feels like it, and people in the future don't get sick that much, so he's bored. He's got a lot of time on his hands.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So in the Star Trek universe, whatever, which one of these people is liked the least, or maybe just not liked at all? Like everybody.
Are you talking about amongst the
fans,
crew or by the fans?
No, by the fans. By the
Okay.
fans. Like everybody.
I
seems
hated
to like.
Chekhov for a long time.
Oh, you did? Okay, why?
Yeah. Because all he does is scream and get hurt.
Burn his hands.
Yeah, or on the show he'd be very corny, and he was new, and he was supposed to look like Davy Jones, and he
Yeah.
wouldn't sometimes, and
He was supposed to bring a little teenage heartthrob
Wow,
sex
he
appeal.
does
but-
kind of
Yeah.
look like Davy Jones. You know that is stupid.
Yeah, look what you've done to me.
But
But everybody else is awesome.
Everybody
But yeah,
likes
I think,
McCoy, even though he's kind of annoying.
Oh yeah, he's
Yeah.
your drunk uncle that is
Mhm.
a little too mouthy at Thanksgiving. He's
Oh,
great.
no, fair enough.
yeah, he gets southern as he gets older. Yeah,
Yes, he does. But by the time he has his cameo on Next Gen, he's calling everyone boy and
yeah.
a little bit too much.
This is
No matter where he goes, he's sitting on a porch in a rocking chair with a shotgun across his lap.
This is completely off topic, but Amazon was after finishing Star Trek 4, Amazon was asking me if I'd like to watch Star Trek 5. And I started it because, there you go. And
Sure.
McCoy at the campfire with the binoculars looking up at James Kirk's stunt double climbing. I just love him in that moment when he's just kind of mumbling to himself and he's commenting about mumbling to himself. So I think that just kind of captures the true essence when he's just by himself, and that's just who he is down to the core.
Yeah,
playing with life. But
yeah.
Anyways,
I love Bones.
I'm leaving that movie now. There we go.
There you go.
So
I sort of like Star Trek 5.
I like the first 20 minutes. And then it's all downhill from there. But
I have no problem with anybody hating it, but I have a soft spot for it.
I'll watch it. I've seen it many times, but it's not very good.
Well,
Yeah.
That's for another podcast. No, just I would never do that. So I do love it when Kirk announces to the whole crew that this is Terra Incognita when they're flying into 1986 San Francisco.
Oh,
Yeah.
I just want to say Leonard Nimoy showed incredible restraint by not showing a wino on a park bench when they land, looking at a
my
bottle.
God.
Yes,
of
that's
bleach
Oh my
and throwing
god!
it away.
Well,
It's a
Jason,
little sad now.
Jason, he did not show great restraint when he showed a couple of extras playing garbage men, extras from Superman 3, watching an invisible ship land.
Now, speaking of Superman 3, what I read about this film is they originally tried to do a Superman 3 with this and have Eddie Murphy in it.
Yes.
They did.
Yeah.
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 Like the really hot, comic of color to really like kind of like hip up the movie. And thank God they didn't, because Superman 3 is, I have a soft spot for that one, but Richard Pryor does not make that movie.
Right. And that was like years before this.
That was,
Yeah.
that was 83.
Yeah.
83,
So why
this
would
is
they be like-
86.
You know, it was a horrible disaster. We should do that again. That'd be great.
Well, and I probably read the same thing that Jason did, but apparently Paramount, so that was proposed, but Paramount didn't want to mash up two big franchises, the Eddie Murphy franchise and the Star Trek franchise, into one thing. And so that allowed Eddie Murphy to do The Golden Child, and so they had two movies instead of
Win-win. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
He
And
did.
everybody
Yeah.
loves the Golden Child.
Yeah.
Thank God. Thank God they went along and made that. Good for you guys.
If we have to endure a Golden Child so he wouldn't ruin Star Trek 4, I'll take it.
That's actually not bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, apparently
It's a
he
fair
was
deal.
supposed to be a UFO scientist or something, and he sees, I guess, the bird of prey reveals itself above the Super Bowl, and he's in the crowd and sees it or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was Kirk's semi-love interest in it or something like that.
I can see it.
yeah.
So when they when they land in the park and they blow away the extras from Superman 3, did Spock, to cover his ears, he kind of goes down and he rips off a bit of fabric on his nether regions and puts it on his heads.
Yeah. It's going commando now.
Yeah, that's
Making a hatch.
yeah. So
He made himself a hat.
did he make himself a hatch? But I absolutely love, after he gets that on, and he kind of looks back at Kirk, and then he looks over to McCoy. I just find the expression on his face just absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, look at me. I did
there
it.
you go.
I'm improvising. Like you weird humans.
Can I just say I was very happy that when they are flying in and landing in the park, you can see my house.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wow.
Are you joking? Are you for real?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
It's the little
dark,
light.
but you can see the light. It's the little light. Yep.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, that
Yeah.
light. Oh my God.
You need to get a screen grab of that and circle your house on it and post it.
Mhm.
I do have to, as much as I'm making fun of these garbage men, that the fact that one of them that their spouse would buy a $60 toaster, I would have some issues with that as well. But
I'd have issues with someone buying a $60 toaster now.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
Insane.
1986. But
Yeah,
You
it'd be
can
like
apply a
100.
low amount of heat to some toast, to some bread. That's all you got to do. Crying out loud. I know I don't like fun and I don't like when things are funny and enjoyable, but everyone remember where we parked is a
Oh.
great line.
it is.
Totally solid,
Yeah.
totally easy, and great.
I'll give it to this. Shatner in this film is incredible. He is.
I agree.
He is.
Yeah. I agree
He
too.
plays it to a T, and he's very funny, very charming, very likable. And
Yeah.
he's like this. The Star Trek series really shows the range of what Shatner can do. I'll die on this hill that he is a very underrated, underappreciated actor. He's fantastic.
I agree. He's like sort of the, whatever, people go to him as like the example of, the kind of hacky,
The hamming
overdoing
it up,
over the
yeah.
top, super hammy. But he's really good. He can be really understated and really just natural and awesome. And you do. Yeah, throughout the Star Trek, the film series, you do get like, I think
you see
like
his rage, you see his like despair, you see his
and you see like his
cunning. It's great.
Shatnerness comes out a lot. Like
Oh,
Star Trek: The
sure.
Motion Picture is a very like you can point to them. Okay, he's being Shatner the entire time. Okay, and then 2 is like very human, and he's getting older and stuff, and like and even this one, he's got a lot of just great understated moments that are just totally great, and we love him.
Speaking of wonderful acting, when he cut to the everyone remember where we park, and then all of a sudden you have the music cue, and you know something wacky's going to happen.
Yeah, there's light jazz happening. Or something.
And they're on the streets of San Francisco. I would say the next minute has to be my absolute favorite minute of this film, and possibly of the entire original crew series. 'Cause
Wow.
I think they're just all fantastic when they get
I'm
down and are
100%
trying to
with
figure it
you.
out in the streets. Yeah.
I love this.
Shatner tells them to break it up because they look like a cadet review.
Yeah. Then he just kind of, never mind. And
Sort of shuffling around. Yeah.
and
I like
Everyone's
that-
very
that-
natural. I chalk this all up to Nimoy. He's actually pretty good, like director of actors. I'll say it.
Yeah.
That.
And it's so refreshing to see them all not in a cheesy studio set, but like just on the streets doing, just doing stuff and, fish out of water. And and I think that every comic thing that happens is a success. I have to, I really like every little joke. I'm thinking everything from what does it mean exact change to you look like a cadet review to,
Wessels.
I can give you $100 for these glasses. Is that a lot? It's just like, it's like,
This little cuckoo sound to punctuate it.
I mean,
It'll be a gift again. That's the beauty of it.
I mean, there's not one of the jokes that's a groaner or falls on its face. I think he just kind of nailed the, what do you call it? Just nailed it.
They
humor.
stuck the landing.
Yeah.
No, I agree completely. Yeah.
And then they're off to see George and Gracie.
Yeah. And I mean, somebody needs to make a list, and I don't think it'll be very long, of authentic punks in movies or TV, because this guy is not one of them, I don't think. I mean, the lyrics of the song that he's listening to include the words, I hope you're blue too. This furious, angry punk rock tune.
That's just screaming my college days. No, but that guy, I think, was an associate producer on the film or something to that effect. And
He was a Jim Henson guy. I know he did a lot of Muppet stuff.
Okay, cool.
Too. Yeah.
And he recorded this song, right? This is his band or something? I think that's true.
did he? Oh,
yeah.
Oh, that's funny. I love that the guy in front of him has an Omni magazine.
yes.
Yeah. Oh, I noticed that too. I used to love
incredible.
I did too. Yeah.
I used to because my dad being the doctor and scientist brain guy, we had subscriptions to Discovery and Omni and all that when I was a kid, and I always used to think that Omni, I felt a little bit dirty reading it because I believe it was Bob Guccione's publication.
It was. Yeah.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I
No,
know
I'm
Bob
really reading it
Guccione,
for
but
the
I don't know
articles,
Omni.
honest.
And that bus scene, another thing that I noticed wearing with headphones and stuff and just being able to pause it and look. So when it's a 2-shot of Nimoy and Shatner on the bus, over Nimoy's left shoulder, camera right, you can see an on-set photographer taking stills of the scene while it's being filmed. If you pause, there's one moment when he moves and you can see his lens. You can see that he's holding a camera, a still camera, and you can actually, on the soundtrack, you can hear a little.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah. That yeah, and really soft sort of thing. If you've ever been on a set and you have
Yeah.
like still photographers alongside motion picture, you can they have
That's
a very high
amazing.
camera that does that. Yeah,
Huh?
That's it. I take it back. Nimoy, terrible director.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah, what a heck. Oh my God, I see him. I'm looking at it right now. That's incredible. He's got a little cap on. That's amazing. I recognize him.
For the record, I will say that I agree. I think that the humor in this was it was done well, especially since it happened in 1986. Like it's like the chronometer, is already dialed up to like an 8. But that's why I began by what I said. I don't watch Star Trek, but watching this movie, a lot of the stuff worked, and even the stuff even there's a whole bunch of stuff that didn't work, and maybe we'll get there. There's a lot of questions kind of towards the end where you're like, what? But you completely forgive it because it's done well, and the people are charming, and it's well acted, and you know who they are, and like Kirk is human. I mean he what I didn't figure out, especially now since we're here in San Francisco, all of a sudden he knows all these. He's like, "Hey baby, can I get your digits?" And, just like he's speaking the vernacular, and I'm just like, so I mean, is that like, so if I went back 200 or 300 years ago,
Yeah.
even though I'm from planet Earth, would I guess, I don't know. That was kind of an interesting thing they did with them. But again, you forgive it. You're like,
Well, it's charming when he says like double dumbass
Oh, dumbass on you.
Oh, yeah. No, it's true.
The colorful metaphors, yes.
And again, that's, props to Leonard Nimoy for kind of threading the needle of having a good time and like a hot, whatever. Let's do a fun one and not get too crazy on this. But it was, I may shock you, my good friend Tommy, but I enjoyed the movie. It was kind of like
Beautiful.
All right.
it was kind of like trying to rub out a Charlie horse, but
Well, I mean,
No, it's true.
going off
go
on that, like this was like the one that was more accessible to non-Star Trek fans. Like growing up being a Star Trek fan as a little kid in like the 90s, everyone, thought it was stupid and lame, but everyone still knew about the whale one.
yes, exactly, and that's why everybody calls it the whale one. Can I tell you? I think I saw this. Maybe in the theater. I may have seen this with you, Tommy.
Yeah, maybe.
Like
probably
it could have been a
dragged you
thing
to
where
it.
you came to Cleveland in 1986 or something like that, and we saw us in the theater, and I probably groaned the whole time. But
Oh,
I think I'm pretty sure I saw this in the theater.
I wanted to see Platoon.
Yeah.
Another laugh riot.
I saw this multiple times in the theater when it came out, and one of which was as a little second run theater near my house in Tacoma when I was growing up, and I saw this as a double feature with Solar Babies.
Oh my God.
Whoa.
Wow.
I'm one of 5 people on Earth who's seen Solar Babies, the roller skating teens in the future.
That's awesome. Yeah, but Jerry, you're saying like a 19 this is especially impressive for 1986, and it's true. If you say like, oh, we'll do a movie where the crew of the Enterprise goes back in time, and it's kind of a light romp in 1986, you're
Right.
like, oh,
they run
no.
around and they run into a
my
punk
God.
rocker on the bus, and they stick it
Spock
to him.
box them.
Yeah.
Fish out of water.
Yeah.
You're like, oh no, what a nightmare.
Yeah,
Why
this
would
is
they do
terrible.
that? Oh, they were on a really good roll. They're making some really good movies. Oh, well. And
Totally.
it works great. They don't do
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
aren't like, I don't know, Valley Girl jokes or something, or there's not like, Eddie Murphy doesn't show up. Like that would have been awful.
He doesn't
they
say,
kind
where's
of-
the beef,
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah.
So Spock on the bus when he does the what's the official title? The Vulcan pinch.
The Vulcan pinch.
The Vulcan
Nerve
pinch.
thing.
So
I'm sure there's a name.
how come he doesn't use that more often if it's such an effective and flawless tool?
Yeah, I mean, it's clear if he's using it to silence somebody who's being mildly annoying on a bus, that doesn't seem like it's a very, If he's going to use it then, why wouldn't he use it all the time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I don't know. He should.
He
He's
should.
stalking people left and right.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do people on the bus think he did to that guy?
That's a really good question. Just killed him, just snapped his neck.
Yeah, I mean, just all like 1 second the music's loud, the next second the guy's lying there with his head on top of his
Yeah.
stereo.
Yeah, he's turning
killed
blue,
that
not
man.
breathing.
His hair's turning orange.
they all just clap.
Hey, I've been to this place. I've been to the Cetacean Institute,
Oh,
the actual
yeah.
real one.
I have.
Yeah.
And,
Is this
wherever,
actually in
Monterey.
Sausalito?
No.
It's in all the
It's in
terms
Monterey.
out there are foreign to me. Yeah, it's in Monterey,
So
Yeah.
and it's cool. The whole time I was there, like, I don't know, 3 years ago, and the whole time I was like, guys, we're in Star Trek 4, and I was like, shut up, Tommy.
You know what's funny is I saw, the where they were, and I was like, God, that looks exactly like the Monterey Aquarium. And I was like, that looks exactly like the Monterey Aquarium. But then when I saw the San Francisco skyline in the background, I went, oh, nah. I guess
movie magic.
it's not. And then when I was doing all my heavy research, I discovered that they added that, and I was
Yeah.
like,
Got a pen
"Wow!"
behind your ear.
One, I was right, and two, damn, they really fooled me. That's Pete. You've
They did
been
a pretty
there,
good job
right?
with that. Oh yeah, several times.
Yeah, that's
I've also-
an incredible aquarium.
And one of my favorite things to do is to go whale watching. And like I've been out a couple times where we've seen humpback whales, and like when you see them just like 20 feet away, and they do a full breach out of the water, it literally takes your breath away. Like it's amazing, like the sound of the water, like the slap on the water, and then they'll drop a microphone under the water, and you'll hear the singing, and it's like wow.
Wow,
wow.
yeah, it's true. I actually went
Yeah.
off the coast of Santa Barbara, and you go out, and they come up and they shoot. They sort of they do a deep dive, and then they come up, like 5 minutes later or whatever, and they blow out their blowhole. And you're like, oh, that's amazing. Oh, my God, it's the most foul-smelling thing I've ever... It's like the entire ship, or the boat you're on, and it's a big boat,
Yeah.
is just canvassed in, like, whale burp. I'm dead serious. It's like krill and, like,
Yeah.
fetid meat seafood. Yeah, it's really
It smells
gnarly.
like seafood.
Yeah, but it's like chewed
Star
up,
Trek.
belched out seafood. It's actually really funny because
Oh my
just
God.
not 3 seconds prior to that waft, everybody's cheering and
Oh,
screaming.
the Earth is actually a beautiful
Yeah,
place. Oh, no.
Exactly. They're inhaling
Get the harpoon.
krill
get
bits.
the harpoon.
It's awesome.
I live in West Seattle, we're surrounded by Puget Sound here, and
Mhm.
there are killer whales here all the time. And I've lived here I've lived in Washington most of my life and 10 years in LA, but I've never seen a killer whale. And I'll go on the West Seattle blog, and they'll be like, "Oh, killer whales off this morning." My wife
No,
and
they're not.
my wife and kids have seen them, and I have
Aw.
never seen them at all. But
Oh man.
our old viaduct that we had skirting downtown that was knocked down for a tunnel. If you remember that they built a big tunnel in
Yeah.
downtown Seattle for the highway to go through. So, but before then it was a double decker, highway on the waterfront. And if you're driving northbound, you'd have Union Bay off to your left, Puget Sound. And the last time I drove over it, a gray whale was in the bay, and right next to one of the piers, its tail breached the water and went slap down on the water, and it scooted away. I saw that
Nice.
from my car while I was driving,
Wow.
Nice.
5 stories up, and it was just like,
That's awesome.
whoa! And it actually made me think of this movie. So,
Beautiful.
One
But,
thing that
oh, go ahead.
relationships to where we live is I saw this movie as a kid, or I don't know how old I was when it came out, but and I've always, between that point and today, I've always, because I moved to San Francisco in like 25 years ago, and I was always waiting for somebody to call me a landlubber. And I have never once heard a single person use that term.
Yeah. Does she just say that to anybody who's
Like
Who doesn't
from
work at
Iowa
the
or-
Cetacean Institute or isn't into whales or something? Yeah,
So
it could be.
coming up is one of my other favorite scenes to watch and back up and watch again is this leading a tour group through something, and so it's just such a slice of life of 1986.
Yeah,
The way
yeah, it's
everybody
amazing.
looks, and
Yeah.
and there's always the really inquisitive sort of young guy up front who has a lot of questions, and there's a couple
Yeah.
of nuns.
My mom didn't drag me here. I want to be here. Learn about whales. It's not for homework or nothing.
This is it's just the kind of scene where you're not watching the main cast, you're watching the extras.
Right.
Right.
Although I love Kirk's like increasingly alarmed facial expressions when Spock's in the water.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I think I learned my style of swearing from Spock in this movie. Maybe I realized, they are not the hell you're whales. Like that's a joke that it's like he doesn't know how to do it. But I think I drop in hells and dams and stuff in that way, like in weird places, maybe.
And double dumbass on you.
Yeah, double dumbass on you. So constantly.
So could one actually hold humpback whales in captivity in a pen that size?
I don't think so.
And it's never happened before, has it? This is
I think it probably goes out to a larger area, I would assume. Just
Even so, though, I don't think I feel like
it's pretty small.
and
Yeah.
then they drain it in the end, and it doesn't really seem that big.
yeah, it's just,
Yeah, right.
Whales are gone. We gotta change the water.
Yeah, wait, that was a huge.
Yeah, but it's
Huge
like
waste of
10
water.
feet deep. Yeah.
Oh, here comes Bob to do some exposition to tell us
Yeah.
what's going on.
I'm gonna slap him for any number of reasons. Most of which is wasting all that water. She's very she's a good tour guide, but she's also very emotional the whole time. She's like almost breaking into tears.
Yeah.
Half the time she's leading this friendly group of people through the thing.
Yeah.
You know, she's breaking her own heart watching these videos of whales getting slaughtered and stuff. She's getting all maudlin.
That's pretty rough to watch. Like, even
Oh, it
like,
is, yeah.
as a movie viewer, like that's
Yeah.
man, the stuff they're showing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Slicing these whales open and stuff.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
surprised they, took it as far as they did.
Mm-hmm.
Now I wasn't really around during this time, so you guys can answer me. Was whale hunting really that big of an issue back in 1986? Was it?
I feel like it was
imagine.
because I remember all the there was all the Greenpeace stuff and the WWF stuff, and it was like a huge, like it felt like, at least in like the community consciousness, this is when environmental stuff really kicked in. Like this was like, oh, I want to
Yeah.
save the oceans.
I agree. Well, also, you know
Save the
what? There
whales,
was, and
yeah.
it was everywhere, and you don't see it as much. I don't know why you do or don't, but remember when you first discovered that, like, people would bludgeon baby seals for their coats?
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
there'd be that sort of thing out there, and you'd be reading whatever, I don't know, like it would be like Ranger Rick or something like
Yeah.
that. It would, it'd be like
Yeah.
the Bloody Monday of, the Aleutian Islands or whatever. Whatever. And when you finally discovered this, you're like, you're kidding me. You
Yeah.
you see the page, and it's like the first page is like the cutest creature you've ever seen. And then you
Oh.
turn the page, and it's like, a bunch of dudes in plaid, winter jackets getting off a fishing boat or something, and they're just
Right.
pummeling them. It was horrible, and I do
Yeah.
remember that. It was actually shocking,
Yeah.
when
You're in the doctor's office waiting room just sobbing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it was
Right next to the
everywhere.
article about the Challenger.
It was everywhere for a reason. And because it was happening and people were bringing this to light, and you shouldn't buy fur, and or whatever, this type of thing. And so I think the whale stuff must have been in there as well.
Well, I'm curious though. Like, I know with Raiders and the indie movies, a lot of people became archaeologists, and like I wonder if this movie had an effect on people becoming marine biologists.
What kind of archaeologists did they become?
Yeah. They all got fired immediately. I think Leonard Nimoy got some awards and stuff from some, I don't know who gives out awards for environmental consideration and things. The Whale Society or something. I should look this up. But yeah, he was recognized for raising awareness of stuff.
Oh,
in this movie.
Catherine Hicks apparently got really involved after doing this movie.
Yeah. And then she was terrorized by a murderous doll. It was sad.
Yeah. Cutting back to another adventure in this film, when we splinter off to, I believe it's Sulu and Scotty.
McCoy and Scotty,
yeah, Sulu, McCoy, and Scotty. They're wandering around San Francisco. They're in Chinatown, and then they come across like, well, where are we going to find this? And they, walk up in front of a big Yellow Pages ad on a building.
That. Right.
So, and then a door opens in the building, and out, runs a Chinese kid, and mom yelling after him for something. And so I read today that apparently that kid, he was supposed to have an interaction with Sulu where Sulu deduced that was his great-great-great-great-grandfather or something like that.
Oh boy.
But apparently the child actor wasn't really up to performing that day as kid actors can be. So they just decided to drop it.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's probably a good
probably
idea.
just as well.
Yeah.
He got another thing cut later too, I think, didn't he? Like like everybody's got their little missions. Like Scotty and Bones go off to get some transparent aluminum, and he goes off to get a helicopter. All you see him do is like chat with a dude.
Yeah, you never see how he gets it.
So that's another thing I read today was that he apparently George Takei ran a marathon the day before filming that scene or very close to it. And he was supposed to have a scene where he sneaks into the helicopter and steals it while that guy's not looking or is not paying attention, or runs and jumps into it. But apparently he was so sore from running the marathon that he literally could not move.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they even apparently tried to have some grips kind of hold him up and chuck him into the helicopter, but it just wasn't
throw him
working.
into a live helicopter.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh my.
yeah,
What if they missed their mark and got into the blades?
yeah. Well, not that high, but I do. It's later on, but I just love that little insert of him flipping switches and all of a sudden the windshield wipers go on.
Yeah. And then Scotty and Bones' mission is awesome.
I love
Like that's
a great
that
one.
whole
love that.
sequence is
Not
doesn't make
now,
any
Madeline.
sense. Why did they put that in? That's a great little moment. You're like, who's Madeline? What's going on? But that's a great little moment.
I quit
makes it
smoking.
perfect. He's got that pin, yeah.
I've been looking for that pen since I quit smoking a couple of years ago, and I've been looking for that
nice.
pen, and I want it so bad.
Oh, that'd be very cool.
I don't.
But yeah, like this, there's nothing makes sense in this entire sequence. Like the fact that they just buy that this is like some expert from Edinburgh or something, and that he wants to trade this magical formula for just some very standard walls of whatever what's the stuff called?
Plexiglass or something.
Plexiglass, yeah.
Yeah, and don't bury yourself in the roll. When he's talking about
Very
it,
That's how he got through the door.
Yeah.
He really dug into that part. But
Well,
I'm
I guess
just
so.
curious
Jacket sells it.
how Scotty would know how to use like a late 20th century computer program. That makes no sense.
Well, I like how he can hit the keyboard only about 20 times and then draw all that up. That's
That was
just
like
single finger pecking.
total 1986 stuff.
Yeah.
Just like all of a sudden the computer. Yeah, exactly. Computers can do anything you're thinking.
Wow.
Yeah.
Formulas and whatnot. I actually started to think this, like, you always say, okay, just somehow he magically brought up this formula, whatever, this tiny little Macintosh, Macintosh, right? That was
Mac
like a
SE.
little
Mac,
Macintosh.
yeah.
And but I started to think, because this is all I used it for in high school, like they had one in the library at our high school. Like, did he maybe just like do like Mac Paint and just draw that formula? Is that what he was doing there? It wasn't like some huge computational thing. He just like made a picture of that
Pixar
formula.
or something like that.
Yeah. Hello, computer. I must say that every time I sit down at a computer, right? That sounds like something I do.
It does sound like something you do.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, just talk about everybody doing their finest acting in the film in the Star Trek universe is when he pulls Scotty aside and it's like, what what makes you think that he didn't think it up himself? And
Right.
just the little double glance that Bone gives him and the little smile is just like it's great.
Yeah.
They're old
Sorry, I cut
pals.
somebody off there.
Well, this one, like this scene, really makes me want to see more adventures of Bones and Scotty together. Just getting pissed
Yeah.
drunk and probably a little too touchy feely with the bar maidens and everything. It's great.
Right. Yeah. It is funny. This is a movie, like a Star Trek movie about time travel, and they're so all these times where they are just willfully flouting the idea that they're not going to wreck the timeline or anything like that.
Right.
Like they're just, there's no way this guy invented transparent aluminum. No, Bones is not going to re-give Kirk his glasses when they get back to the future or whatever and stuff. All these things, like they're doing all these stuff, all these things to like either mess up or just not understand how time works and stuff. And they don't care. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that
I'm
goes
fine
with the
with
whole
it, too.
theme of this. It's just a fun, jovial, madcap romp. It's great. They don't care about the real implications of time travel with this one.
Yeah.
Well, I have a feeling that this is also a slight fever dream of Han Solo because Catherine Hicks asked William Shatner, "Who are you?" at some point.
Oh my God, that's true.
Wow.
Nice.
And what does Spock have against pizza? I don't understand.
I love
Yeah.
that moment.
Yeah,
That's
I do too.
great.
Yeah.
Do you guys like Italian? No.
No.
No. Yes.
Yes.
No.
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 Yes.
No. Like Spock is insisting that he does. Like specifically, he doesn't like Italian. He knows that he doesn't. You're right. Like just enough of his mind has been reset on Vulcan that he knows he hates Italian.
Yeah, you think he'd like. That's very specific to an Earth culture. You think I like Earth food.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So, speaking of timelines and messing with them, when they're aboard the what's supposed to be the Enterprise, but apparently when they're not, it wasn't the Enterprise, the ship, the aircraft carrier that's there.
Oh yeah.
Yes, Chekhov and Uhura. When Chekhov gets captured after the chase. So they have his communicator, they have his ID and all of that, and he leaves it behind. So Pete, how do you feel about that? Are you anxious about the future in any way?
Absolutely.
These guys must have invented Starfleet.
That's like Terminator logic. That's how
It is. Yeah.
they do it.
But why wouldn't you do this like anytime something like you had a bad day? Why wouldn't you just go around the sun and come back and fix it? And then, like it seems like any problem you had, you could just go back and fix it.
Why would Superman not just fly around the Earth a lot of time and spin it the other way?
Yeah.
Well, do
Or
they ever
go all the way back to
explain-
before Lex Luthor launched the missiles in the first place?
Yeah.
Do they ever explain how the time travel slingshotting around the sun, like how they can? Are they able to actually pinpoint when they can travel to?
I guess Spock is doing
may-
lots of calculations. That somehow.
he's
But you're like
doing his best
calculations
guess.
with regards to what?
I don't know, acceleration,
Calculating.
mass, and things.
How do you,
and
I guess
space
so.
stuff.
I guess so.
But we
Wow.
shouldn't know that stuff. We shouldn't need an explanation. It's like in
Right.
the original series when they're looking down into that little tiny box with telling them stuff. It
right.
just is what it is. Yeah.
It says
Right,
here my soup
right.
Yeah.
is done. I also love the scene with them at the restaurant.
Oh yeah.
Catherine Hicks and
Yeah.
and Kirk. And he has
Yeah.
maybe my favorite line in, like someone just said, like any of these movies, maybe any movie ever. She asks him if he's from outer space, and he says, "No, I'm from Iowa. I only work in outer space." That's a fantastic line, and it's beautifully delivered. And it reminds me of my other favorite line from Indiana Jones: "Nothing surprises me. I'm a scientist." Just that same
Yeah.
casual, just this doesn't quite make sense, but totally makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's super cool and awesome, and I love it.
I also love like the little touch Shatner gives when he takes a sip of the Michelob.
Like, oh, beer.
Michelob. Wow.
Ooh, synthahol.
Like, so
Man,
this is beer.
We
Earth beer.
should have come back to Earth when there were microbrews.
Yeah. So,
Makes me
another
wonder
reason to
what
go
kind
back?
of beer they have in the 23rd century that makes them do a little
Yeah.
double take on that.
Is he like, oh, this stuff is weak as hell, or is he like, oh my god, I think I'm drunk already?
I'm thinking back
It's-
I'm thinking back to 1980s beers, and I probably would have the same reaction.
Right.
It's interesting though when they film, when you do a movie from the future in the present day, the danger is always like when Kirk pulls out the communicator here, and it looks so primitive by 2020 standards.
Oh yeah.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Yeah. It's just like it's like a toy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that goes for all Star Trek around this time. All the monitors are like tube screens and.
Right. Oh my God, the future sucks.
It's his pocket pager.
Yeah, he must be a doctor.
Yeah.
Only doctor. I remember people having beepers, like regular folks having beepers in the early '90s and stuff. But I forget when like
Also, I
actual
think that's
pocket pagers.
It's a Klingon communicator.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that's why it looks a little janky and.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll excuse it then.
All right. Well, Leonard Nimoy's a good director. I take it back again.
See, detail.
So, just backing up to just prior to the restaurant, she's driving in her pickup, and she sees them, and she stops, and then she offers them a ride. Is that a wise choice after what just happened? After
that's just
seeing Spock in his underwear, and we only see the back of the underwear, so we're not really aware if there's a hatch or not. But
that's just total 80s stuff.
Yeah.
That's.
She does have a tire iron though. She's safe.
And Pete, can it be where they are? It's all foggy and all that, and then they're talking on the communicator to Chekhov and Uhura in Alameda, where it is kind of sunny and kind of like magic hour. Can that happen in the Bay Area?
Yeah, that happens like in a 2-block space. Like it'll be foggy and 50 degrees, and 2 blocks over it'll be like 70 and sunny.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that literally happens. So that's actually good. There is an aircraft carrier in Alameda that you can visit today, which is cool. The Hornet that picked up.
Oh, cool.
Picked up the astronauts. They've still got the.
You can tour that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I tried last visit to San Francisco with the family. I think I tried to offer that as a thing to do, but nobody wanted to do it.
Aw.
Oh, that's too bad. It's awesome.
Next time.
Did you tell them it was the aircraft carrier from Star Trek 4?
Oh, then they really wouldn't have wanted to do it.
It's not though.
Whatever.
They filmed that. They filmed it in San Diego. The aircraft carrier part.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I wondered, is that
Oh,
that
well.
look familiar too? Is that the aircraft carrier that's in San Diego?
I don't know. But
know what
I'm
I'm
guessing
talking
it was
about?
an active aircraft carrier. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's. I don't know.
Like there's one that you could, because that looked a little familiar too.
Yeah.
Oh, when she gets back to the she gets back to the Cetacean Institute and sees that the whales are gone, and she's all furious, and the guy's like, Bob, Slappy Bob,
Yeah.
he's like, we didn't want a big media circus. Like, why would you not want a media circus? Like, why would you not want to? Why wouldn't you want, like, this is like a big deal that you have these whales, and you're
Yeah.
releasing them into the wild. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
That's free advertisement. That's I don't know. You deserve to be slapped, Bob.
Yeah,
It doesn't make
exactly.
any sense.
Don't they want people to come to their aquarium?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And how do they
Shouldn't
transport him? They put him in an airplane, or I'm curious how they.
I think they just opened the
No,
gates.
they said, didn't they say?
Yeah, she says that, doesn't
It's
she?
like
flying.
a converted 747 or
Didn't she say they
something.
put him on an? I think they're flying.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's true or not or whatever, but something about that sounds ridiculous.
That sounds
No, they
ridiculous.
used to.
Like, I don't
they
know.
used to fly Shamu when they had SeaWorld in Cleveland.
Yeah.
I think they used to
What?
fly Shamu to Florida for the winter.
But I feel like,
Weird.
yeah, that's really weird. It was really,
How do you
really.
do
I
that?
live 20 minutes
I don't
from
know.
the Cleveland SeaWorld.
How does he get through security? How do you even get on the plane?
There's some 80s corny joke right there. No, but a killer
What if there's no room
whale.
in smoking?
I feel like, aren't killer whales a lot smaller?
Yeah.
I'm not saying
Yeah.
that they business class.
No, that's what I'm
but-
trying to. It's hard to imagine a humpback whale fitting in a 747.
Yeah, just get I don't know.
I'll say this:
Yeah.
there's
I wouldn't think it was a seven. I think it was just like kind of just an old cargo, like a cargo.
Or like
like
one
an
of those
enormous
constellations or-
military
yeah.
flying
Yeah.
fortress
Yeah.
whale.
Filled with water.
Yeah.
But even do you beam them on? Do you have to have transparent aluminum and walls and everything? Like what? It sounds
Yeah,
like
how do you get
exactly
'em
what
into
You
they
need
plane?
plexiglass 6 inches thick.
Right.
I can't picture how else you do it.
I'll
But
say
how
that-
would you get it into the plane?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
Like I know they have those
the-
planes that could like those firefighting planes that like fly over a lake and just scoop up the
Yeah.
water and stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe they just scoop up the water.
I'll say it.
I
Or
missed.
they might actually, you can like keep whales outside of the water for extended periods of time, just as long as you like hose
Oh.
them down. They might do something like
That's
that.
true.
Oh sure,
Yeah.
just put them on a
Yeah.
big
Yeah.
baggage carrier. Load them onto the back of the plane.
I'll say
Man.
it's there's nothing worse than being betrayed by the aquarium.
It's a heartbreaker.
Yeah, it's like she shows up and it's like, no, we've already let him go, and you're like, not the aquarium.
But how did
could
they drain that pool in like 6
Yeah.
hours?
ILM,
pool's
they,
enormous.
they
Yeah.
drained it.
That was just
Yeah.
kind of
They have ways. They just erased it. Just scribbled it out digitally.
Yeah.
I like. It's also the scenes where I'm looking for extras, and there's all the aquarium scenes. There's some guy with a hose, or a mop or something out on the side.
Yeah. Oh, so then they're back. She ends up on the ship,
Well,
right? Because she's freaking out.
she goes back, and then she does some mime acting when she runs and hits the
Oh, yeah.
invisible leg of the ship.
Yeah.
I'm stuck in a glass box. You got to help me. I'm fighting
We need
against
a
the wind.
ruling from Sean German on that. How good
Yeah.
that is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. If he really bought that she was touching a float ship or something. But I like there's a moment where she's like, they're like, oh, they find out what happened to Chekhov, that he's in a hospital and stuff. And she, or maybe it's even before that, but they're like, she's like, you got to help us. The whales are, they got the transponder thing. I can find them and stuff. We got to go right now. He's like, oh, we can't. And you're like, oh yeah, they can't because they're still putting their tank together and the ship doesn't work yet. And, it's all still damaged. But she's like, what kind of spaceship is this? And he says, it's a spaceship with a missing man. And you're like, oh my God, Kirk even knows who Chekhov is? I never knew him to give a rat's ass about Chekhov. But he's like, actually, he's a good captain, damn it, even
Yeah.
when he's out of uniform.
Yeah.
He's worried about his men. He can't leave because there's a man behind.
So my 9-year-old was laughing so hard at the hospital scene
Mm-hmm.
when they're on their way out, and the elderly woman who Bones gave some pills was all of a sudden all so much better now.
Yeah. I love
she
that
grew
stuff.
a new
That-
I don't
kidney.
care.
She grew
She
a
grew
new
a
kidney.
kidney.
I love
Like,
it's on the elevator.
ibuprofen let her grow a new kidney. It was amazing.
Yeah. He's on the elevator and those two doctors are talking. They're like, oh, do you have another opinion? He's like the goddamn Spanish Inquisition. That's great. It's not even a
Nobody
joke. It's
expects
just
a
funny.
I don't even know if I
Yeah.
know what he's talking about, but it is funny.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just anything he hears about any 20th century
Barbarians.
medicine, he's
Yeah.
like, oh my God. Sew them like garments.
You know, I don't get how they build, like in 12 hours or 8 hours or over lunch or something, they construct
Mhm.
the whale cargo housing unit.
Yeah.
They
They just happened to steal a Klingon ship that had like slots in the top where you could
Mhm.
lower really thick plexiglass walls if you needed
I,
to
I, I
carry
just,
some
like, they
whales.
don't show any of that, do they really?
You see the walls coming down.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, like Sulu is in the helicopter and they're lowering the thing down.
Well, when he's flying in
And
the
somehow
helicopter, the plexi is crated. So did he
Yeah.
land it in the
yeah.
park, and then they had
Yeah.
to uncrate it? Did they have a tire?
Yeah.
Like
That-
a crowbar and.
Part of the movie gets real Police Academy.
Jerry, you wanted like an
Yeah.
A-team montage, like where BA's got the
Yeah.
Dun, dun,
the
dun,
welding
dun,
torch and the
We need more caulk.
I just one little note back at the hospital. I love Chekhov has his best Star Trek moment, I believe, when they ask him, who he is, does he know his name and rank and all that, and he says, "Rank Admiral."
Yeah.
That's his moment to
Whatever,
shine.
Chekhov. Keep dreaming. This might be McCoy's best stuff in the whole movie,
Yeah.
in the whole series.
Yeah.
yeah.
He's just doing his McCoy thing. Just being cranky and being right. He's angry, but he's right,
Yeah.
which is nice. It's always nice when the cranky, angry guy is right and you're on his side.
When they're also about to this might be jumping ahead, but beam aboard the whales, and Scotty, explains how many tons that they were going to be bringing on, and Kirk is like, "Oh, 4 million tons." Sonny is like, "Well, yeah, I have to account for the water." Like Kirk never thought about the water.
Oh yeah. Maybe he thought they would just like hose him down occasionally and stuff. He was thinking of the Boeing thing. Yeah, just keep him moist. We're going back to the future. It's cool. We'll drop him off.
Yeah, you got a bucket of water. You got a sponge. You're fine.
Yeah.
How does this transporter work? Like, how does it know? Sometimes I want to get just the exact outline of this person, but sometimes I want to get like a cubic shape of water. Or
that's why you have a transporter chief. Like it's a surgeon.
Yeah.
They don't really go too much in detail, but that's what I always figured.
So the anesthesiologist of the
Right.
But like with Chekhov, why couldn't they just beam him out of the Enterprise,
the hospital,
of the hospital or of the aircraft carrier? Does he need to have a communicator to beam him?
No.
They have to get a fix on him.
Yeah.
They have to know his location.
Yeah.
Like a real fix on him. I'm trying to think.
I think if Scotty would probably scan the hospital and be like, yeah, there are a lot of humans in there. I don't know which one's Chekhov.
So he doesn't have like an implanted chip or something,
or no, I think he just needs to know like if you say, oh, he's in the third floor in room C or whatever, and he would see the body there, and he could beam him, I think.
So does that mean you could X-ray vision into any place in the universe?
It's like coordinates, but or if the or if they'd be able to target, is the person wearing a wig, and then you could,
just get the wig, or just get Chekhov without
they just
the wig.
keep beaming Shatner over and over.
Hey.
I think it's like with a lot of Trek technology. I mean, you just kind of have to just put faith that it works.
Yeah. And know that it's going to work as well or as badly as the situation needs it to.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Like sometimes it's spot on and it solves every problem and it's completely easy, and other times it's like, oh, if only someone had invented a transporter. Oh well.
I mean, transporter, like there's been many episodes of Star Trek where transporter is the cause of whatever the episode is.
Right. Why do we keep using these things?
So one of my favorite shots of this entire film is the bird of prey over the fishing boat or the whale boat.
Oh yeah, I love that.
That's pretty cool.
That is really awesome.
It's absolutely fantastic.
That's why the matte painting at the beginning, the kind of cartoony one that stands out so much to me, is that this part looks so incredible.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like this looks amazing.
And it's nicely composed, that giant ship over that tiny boat.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just really cool.
But just the guys on the boat, to me, it's like these were not actors. These were guys who do boats and just say, look over there, look up at the big fish.
But they also really sell it. Like I kind of buy that guy's madly spinning the wheel and looking up over his shoulder the whole time. I'm like, I kind of get it. I kind of buy that he's looking at the bird of prey right now. That's cool.
So on IMDb, there was somebody wrote that the guys were speaking Finnish to each other.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, okay, I was wondering about that.
If I thought they were taking them up near Alaska or something like that, but
there are whale-hating people. They go where they have to kill.
The Finns,
Feed
where you
the
at least
bloodlust.
expect them. Sorry to your Finnish audience out there.
Yeah,
So
kidding.
the harpoon hitting nothing and falling was also a big high point of the film for my daughter.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah.
Doink.
Nice.
Awesome. That is very satisfying.
It was extremely satisfying. Also, there be whales aboard,
Yeah.
or there be whales here. I guess
Right.
that's what.
My wife always likes to quote her earlier on. She's like, I have to help those whales. She's freaking out on Kirk. But yeah, so they get back to the
They're
future.
going back to the future.
It seems much easier this time. They don't have a acid trip. They
Yeah.
just kind of show up. They
They're
pass
a
out,
little
I guess,
sleepy.
but they show
Yeah.
up and yeah.
Nobody ever explains why the bird of prey breaks automatically.
I think they set it to or something. That happens twice, right?
Yeah,
it's like
on
something
both
they have
sides.
to do to.
And they call it
Yeah.
out. That
I think they must. Yeah, like Sulu put some timer on it or something, so that when they did their slingshot, they would eventually slow down at some point. You'd think that by the time they slowed down, they'd be like past Pluto or something.
Yeah.
That's
No.
the first
stops at a dime at Earth, pretty much.
Yeah.
So the first
Right.
the first time they do it though, it seems like everybody passes out, but Spock and Bones seem just completely unfazed by it in the beginning. Like they show everybody kind of groggily coming, and all of a sudden they cut to Spock and Bones and are like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were chatting about death the whole time. They never passed out. Finally, a moment alone.
I have a note here that says, "Is Bones in love with Spock?" And I think
I know exactly what you're talking about.
This little speech, and Bones looks like he's had a couple drinks in him, and he is the look he is giving Spock when they're having another moment, talking about life and being half human. That I just think that.
Well, Spock has been inside him.
Oh,
right. I mean, Bones. I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that he purses his lips at him a little bit as he's leaving, and he gives him like a look and everything.
There should have almost been a wink, but
yeah. I felt a wink. I think there was a wink there. I didn't see it, but my heart did. It is weird. I mean, you could also just read it as like, he's being kind of clever and sly and like, oh, no, nobody's perfect, whatever. But there is like an element of like, hey, listen,
I think their relationship just reached a new apex, and
I mean, they have shared a lot. They shared a brain for a while and everything. So I don't know. Who knows? You can be like, Spock, I know what you're thinking about when you're when you're quote unquote meditating in your chambers. I know all your secrets now.
He's thinking about Bones in a 1986 Chrysler LeBaron. But...
right, all his dreams are coming true.
So after the hatch blows off the top of the Enterprise,
the hatch. Anyone with any sense uses the hatch, as this movie proves.
There's a couple things that I have in my notes as well, and it's that this in the closing credits when they have the 1980s TV series montage of the best parts of the episode.
Yeah, remember that 18 we just watched?
Oh my gosh, that's incredible! That was like nuts.
We could get back to that, but when Scotty comes out of the hatch, and I didn't notice this during the main portion of the film, but when Scotty comes down and he starts lowering himself out of the hatch, he begins to slide and fall down the thing, and it looks like that they needed to call the set medic after, like, because there's some ribbing and stuff on the ship on the set, and he slid down that thing, but also so. When they're all on the side and they're all, the whales, the stock footage of the whales are fine and all this, and Spock, Nimoy there's parts where he seems to be smiling and then he stops, and then he's smiling and then he stops, and then he's smiling and then he stops. It's almost like he's catching himself because he's in the moment where they're filming it. They got a big Ritter fan going on them. They got water flying everywhere. Right. They're all playing in the water. So he's having a good time, and then he has to get himself back into character. It's like, it seems like there were moments where he fell out and fell back in and fell out, where he was actually trying to catch himself to stop smiling.
I don't think anybody was in character in that scene. Everyone was just having a fun splashing around at a big pool party.
Yeah.
Well, in real life, that would be like, I think this is a good sign that climate change got away from us, because San Francisco Bay is between 55 and about 58 degrees all year round. And I think we lose consciousness about 30 minutes to an hour being in that temperature of water.
Oh, wow.
So like when Kirk's like pulling people in or pushing people in and everyone's like splashing around, they're probably all freezing to death.
Wow, yeah.
Hypothermia setting in.
Yeah.
They came all this way.
Does that mean Spock's Vulcan side is fading before his human side does, and then the smile emerges?
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Whenever I see that, I just try to he's grimacing. He's grimacing against the wind and the rain, and he's cold. He's freezing to death. It's not a smile. He's actually having a horrible, horrible time. Poor Spock.
That describes you and me a lot too, Tom.
The only explanation, look at him. He's miserable. He's dying. And then there's like about, 30 minutes of whales and probes talking to each other. Mm-hmm. Goes on for I'll be honest, this time when I was watching, I was like, I'll hit the 10-second button a couple times. Oh my God, they're still doing it. They're still just like...
But yeah, to Pete's point earlier, this was the first time I actually noticed that the fact that the probe goes vertical.
That's cool. Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah,
It's, they give you nothing.
and then
it's kind of fascinating. You're like, what is the probe doing? Who sent it? Why it's at like? Why is it attacking the Earth?
Yeah.
If it's so interested in saving the whales, why is it killing every other thing?
I don't
Maybe
think
maybe they had a deal with the
got the
whales.
impression
It
it's
was
intentionally killing any or trying to kill anything. It's just
Yeah.
the wake. It leaves destruction in its
Right,
wake, but
right.
it's unknowing. I think it's not
right. It's like directing something at the oceans to get to the
Yeah.
whales, and
like a bull in a China
ruining stuff
shop.
for the humans.
It's like a giant
it
baby
doesn't care
Huey. It
Yeah.
just causes destruction without meaning to.
Right.
Jason had a good point when we were talking earlier today that the probe looks like it should have been. It was like kind of a cast off from David Lynch's Dune. That it should have been some
totally
sort of spice
is.
transport of some sort.
That's amazing. Yeah, it should just be like totally still and just disappear and then reappear somewhere else. Yeah, that's cool. I'm
Yeah,
all for that.
my daughter was also just fascinated, like the little brain spindly
Yeah.
thing that goes in and out, and it's there. It's like
Mhm.
it's just like, what is that? I don't know. Use your
Some
imagination.
Sorry.
Yeah, J.J. Abrams might explain this, but Leonard
I
Nimoy
love
won't.
I love
So
that
there
they
you
go.
go.
I love that it's
That's
all just pretty mysterious.
Yeah.
So
It's pretty huge.
So one thing that I extensive research 2 hours before the podcast, the whoa 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 that the noise that it makes is actually Leonard
Really?
Nimoy when he was doing the sound
Get
mix
outta
for
here.
the film. He wasn't happy with any of the noises that it made, and he's like, "Well, what noise do you think it should make?" And he's like, "Well, I think it should make a whoa 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 whoa." And it's like, "Go get in that sound booth right there. We're going to
Wow.
record you, and then mess with it a little bit."
Wow.
That's
So,
amazing.
The whoa, 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 whoa is
that's
Leonard
awesome.
Nimoy, apparently,
Wow.
according to IMDb.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah.
my other... when it turns away and leaves, though, you hear a clear didgeridoo.
Oh, I can
Really?
see
Yeah.
that.
Rawr, rawr. Or an or an electronic version of a didgeridoo, but
Uh-huh.
you definitely hear a human
that's
voice
funny.
going, rawr, rawr. See you later. Rawr. We'll be back in 400 years. Let's see if you're still here.
I mean, yeah, is the conversation like literally like, oh, you guys are there? Oh, we didn't know where you... Okay, cool. Bye. You know, just checking. Okay.
Just thinking about this whole probe coming to Earth looking for something, is this kind of not what Star Trek the Motion Picture was?
Yeah. Oh my God, you're
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
that was looking for the humans, and this is looking for the whales. Yeah. Yeah. Oh God, do you think the whales created this probe millions of years ago and sent it out, and now the probe is looking for its creator?
Could they do that with their fins?
Highly probable. Yes. I like
Yeah,
that.
they
I like
find
that.
a way.
Life
I also
finds a way.
wondered, like, is this at all based on "So Long and Thanks for All the Fish" by Doug?
That too. Yeah.
Because I think that came out a couple of years before this.
Yeah. I think you're right. That's amazing. Yeah. It figures it'd be something like this. All those whales, those haughty, obnoxious whales lording it over us all this time.
So, the crew has to go to trial, and they got to get down
Thanks
to
for
business.
saving the world.
Thanks
You're
for
still in
saving the world,
trouble.
but still, we got rules to
Yeah.
follow. Spock joins them. Very admirable of him, which is
He's a
great.
mensch.
They all get let off except for Admiral Kirk is now downgraded to Captain Kirk.
Yeah.
Did you want a slow clap to happen here?
They get a legitimate clap, right? They get a burst of applause when, "Hey, he's been demoted! Yay! He gets to be captain again."
So here's something. Oh God, forgive me for I can't remember her name. Who was
Rand
Majel Barrett? Is that
Oh.
Majel.
Majel
Chapel.
Chapel?
Yeah.
Where is she in this film? Because she's in the opening credits. She is.
I saw her. She
Oh,
doesn't
she
speak
is.
at all. She's a brief cameo.
She's like on a she's like in the Starfleet place where everyone's freaking out, and she's like on a radio saying like, "Give us more power." or something. We need that power for medical whatever or something.
Okay.
She's got like a line.
Because I saw her in the opening credits, and then throughout the film, I was like, "Oh, where was she? Who was she?" I don't.
And Mrs. Jean Roddenberry
Yeah, exactly.
as Majel Barrett, as Nurse Chapel.
And then you see her again as Loxwana Troy.
Yeah.
TNG.
So
And constantly as the computer voice.
Always, yeah.
Yeah.
when they're back at space dock and they're in the shuttle and they're about to go aboard their new mission on some other ship, what are the chances that nobody tells them what ship they're going to?
Right. Yeah.
That nobody
I mean, I
has
guess-
received the plans, the paperwork, and all this. That they're just like, here, get on the shuttle. We're gonna.
And they don't even. I mean, was this made for for them? But like, let's do something special for the crew of the Enterprise. We'll make them another Enterprise. Or is this just like something that happens normally?
Well,
like another version of the ship, and but they wouldn't even like think. Okay, Excelsior, or could we have that new Enterprise? You're probably going to make a new Enterprise, right? Could we have the new Enterprise?
So I always thought until doing this that they went back and they towed back the remains of the old Enterprise and rebuilt it.
Wow.
That's always what I thought. I didn't really
Oh, wow.
think that this was the GMC Yukon to the Chevy Blazer, that it was the same thing with a different grill, and that they.
Well, Starfleet has a bunch of different classes of ships, so they probably had like 20 Constitution classes, which is the Enterprise.
Yeah.
And just slapped a new sticker on it.
Right.
Called it Enterprise, yes.
They scraped Defiant off of it and just put
Yeah.
an A. Yeah.
Yeah, or did they name an Enterprise for them?
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
It's the Enterprise A.
Mm-hmm.
It was going to be the Sulu, but they named it the Enterprise. And, damn it.
Yeah, that's.
And that was cool because this did come out right before Next Generation, so that when Next Generation came out and it was Enterprise D, you kind of got what was going on. Oh, okay, they had the A in 4,
They set
and then
that up.
since then they've had some new ones. Okay.
Yeah.
I really love how they did go all the way to D. So like there's a B and C somewhere in that history, in which we find out later through different episodes and movies what happened with those. But it's really cool.
I think
Good-
we've seen
good
them all
world
by
building.
now, right? Yeah,
Cameron from
That is
Ferris
cool.
Bueller Captain's one. We know that.
that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the B, I think, right?
Yes.
Let my Cameron go.
Yeah. And everybody's happy. They got a new ship and they fly off into the sunset, even though they're in space.
And,
Then we get scenes from the episode we just watched.
Jerry,
Yes.
Jerry, how do you feel after working
You all
your
right
way
there,
through
newbie?
this?
It was doable. It was doable. It's the sort of thing where I'm like, it's like I'm touching it and my finger is fully on it, but my arm is also fully extended and I'm arching my body as far away from it as I can. But no, it's I get it. You know what? With Star Trek, there's this community feeling. Like if you're watching Star Trek, it's like you're actually on the bridge too. They kind of invite you into their world, and you're like there, and you know the people and the trials and tribulations and all the things they go through, and it is. They take you on a journey. You kind of feel like you're there with them. They do a great job at that. Yeah.
You felt
Yeah.
welcomed. That's nice.
Yes.
Pete, how is this as
I'm
a
happy for
San
it.
Francisco film to you?
I think it's one of the best. Like I had absolute nostalgia watching this. Like it's amazing seeing it in 1986. Like how much
Oh,
it's
nice.
different and how much it's changed, or how much it's the same. But yeah, I thought it nailed. Other than Starfleet moving around, I thought it nailed it.
Bunch of bogus nonsense.
Yeah. Baloney.
Like the Marshall College of the Star Trek universe.
I don't see how. Why you?
Tom, how does this fit into your Star Trek world?
I love Star Trek 4. I don't quite hold to the, there's the popular notion that the odd-numbered ones aren't that great and the even ones are awesome.
I don't either. Yeah.
I
That's
think
bullshit.
they're all pretty great. 5 isn't the best, whatever. For some reason, people are down on 3 in recent
Three's
years. I don't know
great.
why.
I love 3.
I love 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3
Two's
was the
best.
first one I
One's
saw in the
best.
theater.
Oh, I think it was me too. Oh no, I saw Motion Picture in the theater, and then I didn't see 2 in the theater for some reason, and then I saw all the rest of them.
Actually, no, I did travel that path. I did. I remember some of my first movie-going memories seeing the original Star Trek in the theater.
Yeah.
And then flipping to seeing 3 with my dad, and then 4 with my dad. Yeah.
Yeah.
But 2 I didn't see for like some later screening at the Cinematheque or something.
Yeah. I feel like when I think about seeing 4 for the first time, I feel like this is around the time I was actually really getting into Star Trek. Not like it had always been, I'd always been into it. Oh, I think I saw it with a friend of, it was our friend of the show, Mark Heidemann. I was with him and I knew more about Star Trek than he did. And I don't even know if that's true anymore. He might know more about it than I do now. But at the time I was like, I had to, Spock lied in like 2 movies ago. That's what Kirk's talking about now. He doesn't have to exaggerate. He could lie or whatever. And so I was, I'm the guy. I'm the guy who knows more about Star Trek. I can like tutor the next generation or whatever.
Was he lying about Italian food?
He was. He loves Italian. So this is like, I think that's around when I was getting, there was no kidding myself. I was a true Star Trek fan at this point. I never looked back. Damn it, I'm drinking out of a Scotty glass.
And what are you drinking?
It was water. Good old water. Delicious water.
Not Michelob. That's good.
No.
Ooh.
What year is this?
Now, are you guys fans of like the newer Star Trek stuff, like Picard and Discovery?
I love the new stuff. No, I'm kind of I did 2 seasons of Discovery, and I don't feel like I need to get into 3.
Did you watch Picard?
And I watched Picard, and I didn't finish it.
It's real bad.
It was tough.
Bad. Yeah,
it was really disappointing.
As a Star Trek is especially like when we start going to lockdown and everything, and the world was burning around us. I really got into watching Next Generation again. And a lot of the original series, and it was really a mood lifter, just like as a future I want to live in. That's what Star Trek's always been for me, is like the future, see what people and humanity and exploration and that, like the goodness and like the betterment of person kind. Right. And that's the new Star Trek. Completely, it's just action schlock and does not follow that at all.
And humans are like, everyone's basically a jerk. It's like watching a cop show. It's like, we haven't gotten anywhere. Everyone's a jerk. They're all greedy and they're all monsters. And there's like a handful of good people on one ship, and that's it.
Yep.
Good luck. Yeah, that's too bad. But we still got Star Trek. We've always got the original Star Trek.
We've got hundreds of episodes of good Star Trek. I'd say that.
Exactly. But thank you guys so much for forcing my friends and I to watch this movie again, because we love it.
Thanks
Even
for
Jerry
having us.
loves it. Look at him.
I'm splashing around in the water.
Just splashing around in San Francisco.
He's smiling. He's a real.
Yeah, he'll be dead soon. Don't worry about him. He's good. I should say that if you're enjoying this conversation, the Star Trek conversation, and especially about Star Trek 4 and the Star Trek movies, you should check out a number of shows. You should check out the Star Trek Minute, which is a Movies by Minutes podcast where they have been covering all the Star Trek movies. I think they've done through 4 now.
Ooh.
I forget if they started 5 yet. I'm not sure. But you should check them out. You should also check out the show that I'm on with my friends Pete the Retailer and John Engel and Joe Maisel, the aforementioned ABCDTOS, where we are covering all of the original series in alphabetical order. That is a lot of fun, and it's not just me saying that. It's other people here on the show. You should also check out you should check us out on if you want to be like these 2 brilliant gentlemen and join us on the show, or if you just want to get other cool, swag and cool things and extra bonuses and benefits, you can go to patreon.com/Indiana Jones Minute, and you can get things like early access to the show. You can get postcards from me and Pete and Jerry, or you could even come on the show and chat with us about, I don't know, your favorite brand of peanut butter, your worst day of school, or even Star Trek 5. Who knows?
Oh, come on.
We love it. We love Star Trek 5. But thank you guys. Thank you, Jerry and Pete. Thank me. And thank all of you out there. And I hope you have a lovely holiday season with the holiday-themed Star Trek 4 main theme that sounds like the holidays.
Hey, Tom, can I say one thing?
Yeah.
Bones.
Nice.
Wow, well done. Well done.